8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! Nobody blink. It's showtime.
Okay, I hope you all saw that. I hope that worked properly.
Well, it works now, I guess.
You guys actually saw that intro, right?
No, there was there must have been a massive delay or something because the stream didn't start up until just a few seconds ago.
Huh.
Stream.
I mean, it's up now. I can see a black screen and then the logo in the corner, bottom right corner. So there wasn't an intro, however.
Should I do the intro again?
Well, might as well. We can edit this, I guess.
No worries. Hang on a moment.
Ten, 9, 8, 7.
Yeah, seeing the HG101s.
Yeah, it's like wiggling around now, yeah.
Yeah, there it goes.
There we are.
2, 1, 0! Nobody blink.
Won't be able to listen to it.
It's showtime.
Well, I heard the intro. I mean, the intro played.
Oh, the theme music? Okay, so I just...
Yeah, it did. It's just, like, I didn't know.
I guess we have... Well, we'll get used to this.
Hey, Bob, a quick question. Is it okay if Cambertian joins the call?
Don't get too full up.
Well, how many people do we have now? Like 6? If it's 6, then yeah, we're probably full up. If there's someone drops out, then yeah, you can probably join.
We got 7 right now.
Oh yeah, if it's 7, then...
Well, that's total in the call, though.
One of them is muted. Like, permanently.
That's still a bit much.
Mind if I go and introduce things?
Yeah, might as well.
Apologies for the brief technical difficulties there. See, I'm switching over to X with your recording, and we're still getting used to it. We'll appreciate any of your feedback and see how things, so we can see how things go and work from there.
Yeah, live stream has just been recently crapping the bed for most of us, so we figured we'd try to switch something a little bit more stable and something more specifically for gaming.
Yeah, between quality issues and...
I'll tell you one thing. The video looks a hell of a lot better on this. Yeah, like based on the test stream that you did the other day. It looks great.
Thanks.
You're going to do up to 60 FPS, too. That's the other thing nice about
Hitbox. We got a logo.
We've had this logo for ages, though, actually. I've used it numerous times.
Not during the stream, though.
A few
I
times
might as
in
well
intro.
get to the point. See, this time around, I thought instead of going a particular theme or something, we just go by games people requested, and to you guys' credit, you did not give us 6 terrible games, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Aw, I'm disappointed now.
I'm really mad you didn't use mine.
That would have been hard to emulate.
You said hard.
Problems.
What was your pick, Joe?
There were like 3 hentai games. Actually, 2 hentai games, and one that was actually like a torture simulator. That was also racially insensitive, so...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, par for the course.
Okay.
Right.
Alright.
I think, actually, Giant Robot, if you're there, I think you know which one I'm talking about. It's called... dang it, I can't remember the thing, but basically it translates... Oh, yeah, Gomon Master for the PC-88. It's Torture Master. I actually started playing that. It's pretty fun.
One more reminder, I cannot see the chat, so I'm relying on you, my co-host, to let me know what's going on.
Should we introduce ourselves? Have we actually done that yet?
Let's do that.
We have
Bobinator, once again.
This is Snarbu.
This is Joseph Joestar.
Satanga, obligatory sir not appearing in that intro.
I'm X Factor.
And I'm Wild Weasel. I guess I'm the last one.
Okay.
Certainly not the least in quality. Sorry, I'm trying to find a clever thing to say. You're
so
cool.
We got our first game from Zerker, who requested Sparkster. He didn't specify version, so I chose a slightly better SNES version.
It's better, but much harder, and then there's a sequence later on that's pretty much down to luck. So good luck beating this game.
We'll be playing 6 games, each for 30 minutes. I have Egg Timer program with me, so we're good on that end.
Hey, Cal is... X saw that.
Yeah, I just spotted it. I'm pulling
What is it that Cal is saying?
Crocky. That's probably what he said.
She's a real beaut, etc.
Look at that!
Now.
It's a
That
red,
actually looks
yellow
really
fish
cool
warbler.
with the picture.
We were talking about food, peanut butter related things, and we didn't talk about Tim Tams. I have not found Tim Tams, so I guess I gotta ask Cal to send some of those. Those are supposed to be the best.
You know, I swear I have seen those somewhere, but I couldn't tell you where I've seen them at.
Probably
They
Market.
sold them at Target and World Market for a short while over here, but they haven't for a while.
Oh man, World Market.
I
haven't
did
been to
see
one
him.
in my area in ages.
Bloody piss bucket.
It's okay.
Man, I need to go back there at some point because they had some really interesting gourmet root beers there. And Gumby toys. I haven't seen Gumby toys anywhere in years.
You mean those you mean the ones with the little wires inside the rubber figure, and then they
Those are
always
pretty
break?
And then they cut you.
Okay, the wire inside breaks, and then you can't pose them anymore because they get all weird and floppy floppy.
Flippy floppy timey wimey.
I guess so. Yes.
Sometimes the cigar.
So, okay, something to note about this, they really overdid the effects, just like they did in the Genesis version, but I still don't understand what that dark cloud at the very beginning of this stage is all about.
Because it's pretty? I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
So I forget, did this one come first, or was Rocket Knight Adventures first?
Rocket Knight
Rocket
Adventures
Knight,
was
yeah.
the very first.
Okay.
That was a year before this, and then the two of these came out late. It was like November '94.
Yes.
So almost simultaneously then.
Yeah,
the
the
SNES version.
I only played the Genesis version. And honestly, I can't remember anything about it.
It's not a particularly great game. It's kind of really weird, especially it's such a downer after the first game. This is closer to the first game, but it has some issues. Most notably, the really narrow and tiny screen resolution for the SNES.
Also, for both Sparksters,
go first.
He's been made a little bit more Sonic rip-offy compared to his first appearance.
He's also slower in both games. Oh, actually, wait, he's slightly faster, I think, in Genesis 1, because you have 2 levels of the charge. It actually passively charges in the sequel, which is actually one of the best changes they made for the Genesis version of Sparkster. But on the other hand, it's the level design is just not as good. Music's not as good. Doesn't have as much personality.
Now, if you want to play a really good Sonic-like game on the SNES, have you ever played Twin Bee Rainbow Bell Adventure?
No, but I've heard great things about it.
For a second,
It's
I thought you were
pretty
about
awesome.
to say, which one was that? The Speedy Gonzalez game?
You know, I never got a chance to play that, and it would have totally been up my alley, you know.
All I really know about it is that somebody hacked it into a Sonic game.
Yeah,
Well, I also heard that one of the fastest games, but not to a fault, was what was it, Mohawk and Headphone Jack?
Yes.
I never played that.
The most gratuitous abuse of Mode 7 and anything.
I'm not sure that is technically Mode 7 because... Actually, wait. Yeah, I think it is because I think the whole game is on a background layer and they just rotate the entire background.
Yep.
with you on, and it's awful. It's not
All I
playable in the slightest.
All I can remember about that game is what happened to the YouTube video of the Tool Assist speedrun that happened on TAS videos. The YouTube tried to do a shaky cam correction on it automatically, and it made it even harder to watch.
Wow.
They thought it was a shaky cam thing? Good God.
Yeah, like it went and said something to the effect of, "It looks like you've had some trouble hanging onto your camera. Would you like us to stabilize it for you?"
I actually remember seeing that now. Yeah, that was...
And the only way you can tell that YouTube even actually did anything to it is the fact that the HUD is gently heaving back and forth.
There's another good Sonic-like to recommend for the... Well, it was unfortunately only for the Super Famicom, but Super Back to the Future Part 2. Everyone's played that one.
Ooh.
I actually didn't check it out because I listened to Game Fan and they didn't like it, but I need to try it out. But
it's okay.
They were full of crap. You know,
it's the best Back to the Future game for what it's worth, but that's a pretty slim pool. Oops! Shoot! Best action game then, compared to the NES pieces of Duke. That.
Oh man, yeah, that part 2 and 3 was awful. But
my brother has a very weird obsession with that game.
Well, the whole thing with like the time paradox, like your clone would appear, and if you killed him, you would die. But then if you managed to get him to kill himself, you didn't die.
Which makes no sense, but.
Yeah, you would like go back in time, and if you went to like the past when you had been to the past, then you would run into like a clone version of yourself because you created a paradox or something like that. So
you've created a time paradox, Snake.
No, but definitely check out if you enjoyed the original Rocket Knight. Can't say anything for these two because I really didn't play much of them. But if you enjoyed the first one, but you didn't like all of the instant death pits and stuff like that. Twin B Rainbow Bell Adventure is great.
I'm surprised no one's really done a Rocket Knight Adventures fan game. How many Sonic ones there are?
Did any of you guys ever play
why would you make a Rocket Knight Adventures fan game when you can just make it a Sonic fan game like they did with Freedom Planet?
Did any of you guys ever play that new one that they did?
It was awful.
Was it?
I didn't. I listened to Duel. Duel said it sucked, so I
It was made after you did the new Silent Hill, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, it was crap. It was just bad.
Double Helix, was it?
No, Climax.
Not
Climax
the good Climax, the bad one.
There's been like 3 companies named that.
So not
everyone's
Climax
a pervert.
Entertainment or whatever it was who did.
Well, there was Climax Graphics.
Shining Force 1 is the one that doesn't suck.
Well, they're the ones that became. It's kind of unclear because I've heard different things that Climax Graphics, the ones that did like Blue Stinger and Time. What's it called? Time Stalkers. I heard that was made from former Climax members, but then I heard it wasn't, and then Climax Graphics became Crazy Games, and then they died.
Okay, who made Steel Princess? Because I'm pretty sure that was by the same people that did
Shining Force
isometric games.
Yeah, that was Climax.
This is really the
Shining
worst
Force
version
one.
you can have for a game like this.
Yeah.
It really is because you can't see anything coming.
Yeah, Climax Entertainment and published by Marvelous originally.
Yeah. I still need to get that. I've heard it's actually okay-ish.
I really like that game. Matter of fact, that's one I need to stream for you guys at some point. Assuming
that's one of those that went on sale. Like you could get it really cheap. But
let me check the prices now. Let's see if it's skyrocketed. It probably has, knowing the collector's market.
I don't know. Like Atlas Games really didn't. For a while there, and it sucks because like I had the original or have the original Digital Devil Socket, but man, those sucks. Or they dropped in price as soon as they reprinted them and.
Well, Steel Princess itself seems to have been one of Atlas's less well-received games overall, so maybe the market for it might not be as good.
Kind of like with Ruler Rose.
Well, I was kind of thinking that there would be less demand and thus it would be cheaper, but maybe it'll wind up being more expensive because fewer people had it.
Yeah, I guess.
It's just like it's got like a 60% overall rating.
I got a copy for $5 at Fry's.
So
looks like nowadays you can get it for about. It's nowhere near that good though. It's not for $5, but you can get it for about 20 on Amazon. You can probably find it cheaper elsewhere.
What I'm mad about is I got a. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, was Rule of Rose that one where it was like a fighting game, but you were just slapping each other?
No, it was a survival horror game that took place in a schoolhouse.
No, that's Rose and Camellia. And
okay.
Did you ever play the Lana remake
slash sequel?
I've played it, but I haven't played it.
Oh, this is so cute, like, because the dialogue, the English dialogue is so cute. Because it's like, you stupid bitch. Like,
isn't it all like them fighting over who gets to be the main
character? Yes, and it's just really cute seeing her name's Mulberg, and she's like this character that's just always asleep, and she's like, yes, I'm the best character, so I should be the main character. And then she just keeps calling, saying, the B word about other girls, and they just slap each other, and then eventually she fights the last boss, and it's just...
This is always before it gets stuck in this game.
Oh, this boss. The track boss.
Much.
They're not very well designed, especially compared to the first games.
Like, what happened with this game? Like, I know the first game, I think they got the Bruce contract involved, so it's not been around for this one.
Well, they got the Castlevania team, I think, to do either the Genesis one or this one, maybe both. I don't know. It's like I guess it's just one of those sort of weird games where they just couldn't bring the magic back. Treasure was kind of like that too after the PlayStation generation. Even then, their PlayStation and Saturn games are kind of divisive.
How about that Stretch Panic?
The PS2 is when they went full insane there. Completely insane.
I would honestly argue that their turning point was Alien Soldier, because honestly, I really didn't like Alien Soldier that much.
I like it.
I think their last great game was Sin and Punishment.
What about Wrecking Showtime? That came out before or after? I like that game.
I never got
around the same time.
Although, they're, it was hit or miss for their Game Boy Advance, because they had a couple of really good ones that were like licensed games, and then the games that they made for sequels to their games really weren't. Well, depending on who you talk to, they weren't.
Nobody bring up Vanguard Heroes, just don't, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to get in a fight with anybody over that one. Or Power Felix.
You've actually got this far in this game before.
Yeah, I lost an argument on that one.
This is a pretty cool stage, despite the shiftless actions. Just really... I mean, what other games do you write a rope ostrich?
I don't know about you guys, but I remember being kind of like, I just didn't really care about like these games when they came out, because Earthworm Jim had just come out, and I was just like,
yeah, that was the new hotness around that time.
It's like, Game Fan tells me to like this game, I'm gonna like this one.
Yes, Sparkster really got shafted, mostly by timing and the whole Mascot race.
Right, and we kind of talked about this in the Mascot one, didn't we? That like 94 was kind of like the Mascot-opolis, or whatever. Because, let's think, some other games that came out at the same time was Arrow the Acrobat 2, Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel,
I actually like those
Punky
games.
Skunk.
Not Punky Skunk.
Yeah.
Awesome Possum.
Hey, when did Rocky Road come out? Because that's also a decent Mascot platformer.
I could swear that was like 93 or 94.
Yeah, Moby Game.
It was.
I not know that was an IREM game.
Yeah, it was.
I just remember there was like a ton of games that came out like in the fall, like around Thanksgiving '94. There was just a whole ton of them, and along these lines. And I think that they just kind of had the burnout afterwards, but...
Well, this is right around when the 16 or the 32-bit generation was just about to kick off.
Right. Well, they even had the Animaniacs games that were on the Genesis, and it was kind of a similar situation where they had totally different games for the two different systems.
Was okay. Super Nintendo was kind of terrible.
They're both not very good games. And I hate to be a hater, but retrospectively, most people will say they love Animaniacs, but then if you ask them what segment they like the most, it's usually either Pinky and the Brain or the actual main Animaniac show. Everybody hates the other side segments they do.
I'd agree with you. I never really thought a lot of the other things were that funny.
I mostly just really... I kind of spaced out during the musical number stuff.
Yeah, I hated those.
Yeah, it just seemed kind of like a vanity project. Like, everybody thought they were being really clever.
Although, I'm being honest, the Slappy Squirrel stuff was also pretty inspired.
That's what I was just going to bring up, too.
Yeah, those were pretty good. What was it? Rita and Runt was awful.
Chicken Boo was okay.
Wait. I kind of liked Chicken Boo. I mean, it was just the same joke over and over. But I don't know, I just found it ridiculous. It's a guilty pleasure.
Pinky and the Brain got beaten to death. Like,
anything
Elvira.
Mr. Skullhead is underappreciated.
oh yeah, that was awful. Like,
good idea,
not only was it Pinky the Brain, it was Pinky and the Brain and the worst character from Tiny Toon Adventures. Like, what would they think?
Come on.
One of the only Tiny Toons characters that didn't have a regular Looney Tunes analog for that.
Well, yeah, no, she was like Elmer Fudd. She's supposed to be Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, she was the Elmer Fudd equivalent.
Oh, at least
that's just not cool then. Like, what were they even thinking?
At least they had the good sense to can Minerva Mink due to a bad slice of Phantom.
Yeah, she doesn't even show up in the DVDs. That's the part that cracked me up. Like,
I wonder if it was
from history.
So did they really have that kind of fandom back then?
Yes, they did. They
did.
There was
They attributed it to one fan. They attributed it to a single individual, but yes, there was someone who was like really obsessed with that show and very loud and gross about it. So
I think Tress McNeil was being stalked or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
It's
kind of.
If you watch the documentary, the I Know That Voice, they actually talk a bit about it.
Oh, really? Oh, God,
goodness. Well, okay, I got to watch that then.
Only a little bit. It is on Netflix now, by the way.
It's
Yeah.
Yes.
Please get a Life Foundation.
That is exactly who that was directed at.
Yes. I loved that one.
Bob, I believe there's a way to actually fire the weird ostrich's laser beams upwards, but I forget how. Because that actually is really a good weapon against him, but I could be misremembering.
Also, this game is kind of slow, man. This system just went meant for this kind of game. I'm sorry. Like, I like the Super Nintendo, just kind of looks limit, you know?
This is Nintendo's shtick, though. They put really good graphics hardware in there, and then they skimp on the CPU.
Actually, that's not even true nowadays. They just skimp on everything.
Well, yeah,
nowadays. Premium. They're like Apple in a sense.
Well, from what I've been hearing, the Wii U is actually the easiest console to develop for this generation.
Well, yeah, because it's not... I mean, think about it. The costs of developing for that system are probably a lot less than what you'd have to do on the Xbone or the PS4.
It just mystifies me how many game developers are saying that they will not develop for it, though.
Because the market's not going to be as big. That's the thing. And think about it. Think about if you had to support, the Wii U, which is basically a legacy platform and slightly dolled up, and then you also have to support next gen at the same time. It's not going to happen. The same thing happened with the Wii. And the only reason the Wii got as many games as it did is because, one, they were super cheap to develop, and two, most of the Wii's ports of games were the PS2 versions with really bad waggle controls tacked on.
Yeah, that's true.
They basically figured that they could count on everybody that bought a Wii for their kids and then get an extra buck from said kids. So I will admit to almost having been duped by the Wii version of Far Cry.
It's okay. It's just it was probably an aborted PS2 port, just like with Red Steel. Red Steel apparently was a PS2 game.
That's what I imagine it was, because it's basically Far Cry Instinct's Evolution, but it looks like the original Turok.
Actually, it's more like Turok Evolution. It doesn't look quite that bad. It looks like Turok Evolution, which was a pretty ugly-ass game.
But I swear, every piece of brush in that, or every every bush and shrubbery in that entire game was cube-shaped.
The only thing I will say about Red Steel though is the fact that if they had not made the first one on the Wii, then we wouldn't have gotten the sequel, and the sequel's actually pre-playable.
I'm surprised they haven't ported that, or just done a remake, or done a third game.
The only reason I haven't even played Red Steel 2 is because I don't own a Wii Motion Plus.
There's a version that comes with it packed in. You can get it for probably anywhere between $20 to $30 these days, possibly as low as 15, depending.
Well, like all the copies I'm seeing of it are used, and they don't include the box set. It's
There's
just
a way you can probably.
That
You can
was
always get a
fun.
Wii Motion Plus. Okay, wait, what was that game they bundled the combined remote with the Motion Plus? Was that the
it
Star
was Skyward Sword, I think.
Yeah, Skyward
Yeah.
Sword, but they had that sports
Wait.
game.
Oh wait, yeah, there was
yeah,
a
the
game. There was
Sports
Link
Resort.
Smash. That was another
Sports
one.
Resort.
Yes, Wii Sports Resort.
Oh, wait, it's Cal.
Yeah.
The whole time he just hasn't said much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I excluded you from the introduce ourselves portion.
Yeah, this is Cal. He's our Australian friend.
I thought he was from New York.
You know what? It's fun. We always have to preface that, though. Why? I mean, we're only one part of the world, Bob. America's only one part of the world. Come on.
We're the most important
They'll
part.
figure out.
There are a
I'm
bunch of
from- oh, yeah.
jingoistic nerd leaders.
Hey,
Kind of like Earth 616 in the Marvel universe, or the Earth 1 in the DC universe. We're just that much more important than the rest of you guys. I'm sorry.
speak for
So
yourself.
we're the Court of Owls?
No,
Bob,
that's
it's still
why
attacked
we've got
with
like
the,
4
I know
Green
nothing.
Lanterns.
I know
We've got
nothing
4 Green
about
Lanterns
this.
because
Laser
we're
beam, I think,
that more.
pulled up
We
and
have
attack.
to deal with more crap.
So which one's the Elseworlds?
Okay.
Not the black guy, not Jon Stewart.
Yeah, we were just saying this game isn't really all that good. It's-
Well, the problem is,
resolution really kills me,
yeah.
personally.
yeah, the resolution's just too tiny.
What's the aspect on this? Is that like 1-to-1 or something, or
It's almost a square resolution. It's like
It is supposed to be 4:3, but it's not square pixels because the actual resolution is something like 256 by 224.
Oh, okay, I get you.
So if you're ever playing like the Super Nintendo ports of Street Fighter 2 and you notice that the character sprites are almost stick figure-ish, like really thin, is because they were counting on that aspect ratio correcting it.
So
Yeah,
does this
so
actually, has this been aspect corrected? Is this actually 4:3 now, or?
This doesn't look like it's been corrected. I think it's actually the 8 to 7 square pixels that most emulators use.
So on an actual set, this would be more wide.
Yeah, it'd be silent.
Yeah.
It would basically be stretched. It wouldn't improve your field of view at all.
Right, it
No,
would still be
of
very
course
cramped.
Which is
Oh.
the most subtle problem that SNES games had that people forget about.
That's
Right.
right. I always forget that the emulators don't display it the way that the TV would have. They display it in the
Some
way
of
the
them actually
game.
do have aspect correction. I
does.
think Kega Fusion does.
SNES 9X has aspect correction, but you generally want a filter enabled when you do that,
Right.
because otherwise it just looks really bad.
Can I speak about this game for a second?
Yes.
I do like to
Please do.
say always kind of like this series setting has got going on. Like, you've
weird,
got
like,
knights and
fucking
people
fantasy.
swords and castles, but then you go into space all the time.
And there are
Robots.
robots.
Yes, you've got robots, you've got jetpacks, but it's like weird feudalism and whatnot.
Okay, so here's my question then. When are we going to get a Dr. McNinja game? Because
I think there was one, but it's an endless for it's going to do.
I want
Yeah.
to surf on frozen robot Dracula from the moon to the earth. That's what I want to do, damn it. And I'm not going to be happy until somebody makes me a game that lets me do that.
What they really need to do is that they need to get I don't know, they need to get Bomber Games or Kumobius or one of those rising star kind of indie developers to get to make one of those. Maybe even the people that did Foul Play, I don't know.
Okay, I'm noticing another problem with this game is that this game is not giving you any health. Like this,
It really
I know some of the later Rocket Knight sequences didn't, but those were like way late into the game, and even then they would still give you health when you needed it. Or they just kill you instantly, as is the case with, I think, the stage 5 with some of the segments. You have to like outrun those angry mechs.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kill your ass instantly for some inexplicable reason.
Well, I like about the first game is it's like a contrast platform with all the set pieces. This is just kind of more of a standard platform. Just
this is very set piecey, yeah, but it goes on a little too long, which is a problem. Like this is an entire stage of ostrich riding. If this had been Rocket Knight, this would have been like the first half of a stage, and then or the first third of a stage, and then you might be doing something else for the other 2/3.
So that's something I haven't figured out. Like in some cases, it's clearly a case of they just ran out of ideas, and so they took the ideas they had and just stretched them out. But then you have cases like this where it's like, did they run out of ideas, or did they just really, really like this one and not realize how annoyingly, frustratingly long it was?
Too many ideas. Would you call that a sort of feature creep?
Too many ideas or too many cooks?
Too many cooks? Everyone see that if you have.
Too many cooks.
Like I could even cite a more modern example of that. The Lego Lord of the Rings game.
Ooh, yeah.
The sequence when you're running away from the ring wraiths to try to get to the bridge, or the ferry before it gets away from you. It, like in the movie, it's like 30 seconds, if that, and it is just sprinting, and then in the game, it literally goes on for like 3 minutes of you just running away from them and jumping over stuff that gets in your way, and it's just stupid.
Honestly, I would argue that the Lego games do that pretty frequently.
Well, we're kind of dealing with that right now. They've got to work on their pacing. We just finished Lego Batman 3, and it starts out where like every level is just a slog, and they take like 30, 45 minutes to an hour just to finish a level, and then later on you get to these levels and they're over in like 15 minutes. So I don't know. It just feels really unbalanced.
Hey Jojo, about like Batman 3, is that the one where Troy Baker's every single voice?
Troy Baker is a lot of voices in this, but yeah, he's the he plays.
Did he sign a pact with Satan? I have to wonder now.
Well, that's the thing. There can only be one over. Oh yes, my wife got Kilowog. She's actually playing that right
I
now.
like how Troy Baker's been both Batman and the Joker now.
That's impressive.
I think he like engaged in some sort of like death duel with Nolan North and won out that we didn't know of. And
Well, that's the thing. Nolan North. At first there was Spike Spiegel. See, I can't even remember his name now. Yeah, Steve Bloom, and then they had Nolan North, and he was the voice in every game ever for at least like 2000. I would say probably 2006 to maybe 2012, and then now it's Troy Baker. So just place your bets on who the next guy's going to be.
I kind of almost thought that that Matthew Mercer was going to take over for him, because within like 2 months or so, I heard him in like 3 or 4 different games and mistook him for Troy Baker every single time. I mean, Fire Emblem Awakening, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Mortal Kombat,
Who's he talking about?
Striker.
Oh, right.
And then that one I cut is yours.
Finally, that stage was terrible.
Here,
Oh, you
Michaela.
I still want to see all 3 of them, like Nolan North, Troy Baker, and Matthew Mercer engage in a 3-way wrestling match.
That'd be something for like one of the conventions, I guess. It's like death duel to see who keeps the crown of most ubiquitous voice actor.
Has Nolan North faced
So wait,
off
you
against
said
Steve
death
Bloom yet?
duel, right? So does that mean if one of them dies, they get a really terrible game over?
That would be really
Talking about how like the whole universe is like missing on their
Ashes are scattered
corpse.
throughout the cosmos.
Technosoft is great, man. I'm sorry. Razor Software, they rolled.
I just remember they were like really banking on the fact that there were like fairy boobs in Stormlord to sell that game. Then they came up with Death Duel, and then I guess they were banking on like.
Stormlord is actually a port as far as I can tell. Like the Genesis version is.
The
it's
Stormlord games, I want to say both of them were Amiga originally.
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine it looks
Deliverance
like
had a really good Mac port that was shareware. I don't know why all the Mac ports were shareware. It was just weird.
Was it the same company selling, or were they a homebrew thing? Or...
I can't remember. It was some strange thing. Let me have a look here.
Amiga games had some kind of creepy thing going on. Of course, I mean, I like I'm from outside Europe, so like I really shouldn't comment on Amiga games, but
no, it's fair to comment on those as an outsider because some of them are just baffling. But
Psygnosis disturbs me to a fundamental.
Psygnosis just seemed like, I mean, because I played a lot of ports of the Amiga games on the Genesis, because they had a lot of games on there, like Shadow of the Beast and all that, but it's just, there was definitely like a creepiness to them. They usually had pretty nice graphics, like when you looked at them in stills, but they were animated really weird.
Yeah, very poorly.
I want to say Psygnosis' big thing art-wise is that a lot of their graphics were either designed by or inspired by famous science fiction painters. Like
Sid
Matthews,
a lot
Sid
of
Mead and
Roger
Dean. Yeah.
I forget, did Psygnosis have anything to do with Captain Blood?
No, actually,
No, that was a French team, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was French.
Yeah, that was it Lorcel or something like that?
Exos.
That's right.
And
That's why I always forget.
And the only
And
game
that's
that wasn't Captain Blood related was Teenage Queen. So yeah, there you go.
Teenage Queen.
That's
A lot of Teenage Queen is stolen from something else, right?
Hey Bob, I have to interrupt you for just a second because I have seen that timer program before. I swear to God that is the exact same one that they have or had at the school library.
Nice. I just googled it.
That is just a piece of nostalgia that I was hoping I'd never see
So
again.
wait, what's our next game on the list then?
Next we have, pardon me, open it up. Haunting starring Polterguy, requested by
Oh, that's a good one. I love that game so much.
Who
is-
requested that one?
Jason X.
Ah,
That is a weird game, that one.
Alright.
It's very clever though, that's the thing.
I think everyone, like, when it was reviewed when it came out, I think everyone agreed it was clever. It was just really short, I think was its main...
Yeah, it's really
criticism.
short.
It's like, wow, this is interesting. I wish it was longer than 10 minutes.
So I'm not very good at this game, but I'll give it my best shot. Start the timer.
Electronic Arts. Back when their name
Well, the key is
actually
just to
came-
like spam the haunting and stuff, but you can't run out of super devil juice, so... Well, it's ghost juice, but...
Devil juice.
Well, you basically are sent to hell every time you run out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, it's possible to die, kinda. And yes, I was quoting Little Nicky, Super devil juice! I just love that his brother fell for that stupid boy. It's like, oh, this flask is full of super devil juice! Give me that!
Get that crap out of here!
It's a great movie, so underrated.
What movies?
I don't think you
Little
game
Nicky.
over in this game, but I think you,
You can actually.
Can you game over?
Yeah.
You have to completely run out of slime even in hell.
Yeah, basically, if you go to hell and then run out of time there, you're basically dead.
So you have to be pretty bad at games.
Actually, I used to. I was a child at the time, so yeah, that technically qualifies. But it's actually just a hard game at times because if you don't know what to do or how to maximize your scaring potential, you basically just run out of juice and you keep getting sent to hell, and hell is just annoying.
I have a vague idea how to play this, but it's been a while.
You fly into things and then just jump around and crap.
The basic trick, Bob, is that you need to... There's a map that'll tell you where everybody in the game is. Where all the people you're supposed to haunt. And then what you're supposed to do is maximize your hauntings by possessing certain objects.
This
Yeah, you
game
can see where they all
is basically a very distant precursor to Ghost Trick. Except it's more about the scares, less about the story.
Well, it's only about the scares, really.
So it's more like Geist, but without guns.
Yeah,
it is basically Geist.
Okay, here's someone.
I mean, the fact that you fly around to different rooms is kind of sandboxy, I guess. Geist is more of, it's like a linear puzzle game. Because most of the sequences in Geist, you're just supposed to solve it in a specific order.
Boy, that freaked her right out.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the reason why I wasn't a terribly big fan of Geist. Is they had so much potential for it, but then they go and just railroad you into specific sequences, and if you don't know what they're trying to tell you, then you're stuck forever.
I forget how you get more slime. I think you have to scare the people enough, and then they drop some.
Leave the room.
Something weird, yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm playing this right, but I'm doing my best.
No, you are. Yeah. There's really only one way to play this game, and that's just to possess objects and then, have the person come over and then you scare them.
This game does some really good animation, though.
Yeah, it's clear that's where most of their budget went.
Argent is asking in the chat what system this game was for. I'm actually
Sega Genesis.
Oh, okay.
This is during
Graphics
a
are
weird
really
era.
pretty nice.
Yeah, this was a weird era for EA here, where they started making really interesting games. Like there was this, there was Bob or
And
B.O.
Dead.
There's
General
Road
Chaos.
Rash,
Yeah, Road Rash, General Chaos.
Oh,
Virtual Pinball.
I was just gonna say that too. Virtual Pinball.
I don't think Bob is that interesting a game. Sorry, Bob.
I like it graphically speaking. I think it plays fine for what it is.
He's a more interesting person than a game.
I don't take that as a compliment. So yeah, this is where you can actually die. That face in the lower left of your health, and that means game over.
Your goal
Well,
is to get lots of slime, yeah.
I do like how overwhelmingly 90s the graphics and plot of the game is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're some kid that got ran over by some scummy family, and now you have to haunt them from beyond the grave.
Never
Scummy
seen
family
something
like
as
yuppies.
never seen something as morbid as that in a Nintendo game. Jeez.
I was just gonna say too the overall style of this game seems to remind me a lot of the Ooze.
Well, actually, it
what I
reminds me
played
of like
with it.
Dungeon Keeper and stuff, and there's some other game it really reminds me of.
Yeah, you bringing up the Ooze, that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking, because this has the same sort of mood to it, that it's like something is very... I'm trying to come up with a way to describe the feeling. I'll get back to you later on that, I think.
A lot of these things have like a TV punk, TV grunge sort of style.
I could see that, yeah.
This is kind of like Zombies Ate My Neighbors to, in terms of stylistic like flair and choice.
Yeah.
I think I figured it out, actually. Like, despite them not having any like really nasty content in them, these games just make me feel like I'm doing something that I would have been grounded for. Like watching an R-rated movie, Like, this is the kind of thing that if my parents saw me playing this as a kid, they would be like, wow, what is this thing that you're playing?
What is this game you're playing? Go to your room.
Though I have to be honest, I actually got that reaction from my wife yesterday because I was playing Plague Inc. And she's like, what is that you're playing? I'm like, Plague Inc?
God, the television. Doesn't blood come out of the TV sometimes? I forget.
I'm surprised it doesn't just vomit all over her. But then again, this isn't Panic. I should have suggested Panic.
If this was Panic, there would be boobs growing out of the walls.
Yes, that
On
too.
your face.
There would be boobs growing out of the walls, and everything would
And vomit,
on
yes.
you. And yeah, just more general weirdness.
I would possess the rug. The rug has an interesting one, if I recall. There's just so much like attention to detail and weirdness put into this game. It's kind of funny.
So I think eventually, if they get scared enough, they'll leave the house entirely.
That's your goal, yes. That's what you're supposed to do.
I can't get her going in the right rooms. Do I need to I need to possess certain things, I wonder?
You just kind of have to wait for him to wander into the right room.
You have to remember that they wanted this game to at least last a few hours, and it's not a long game, so...
Yeah, it only
I'm
takes
actually
about an
back
hour
in here.
most if you know what you're doing.
I'm becoming unpleasantly reminded of the adventure games, The Experiment.
Oh god.
Don't
go in that room. No, that's not where.
I really like The Experiment. It's a fantastic
Are you talking about the Immortal?
idea. No.
No. There was this PC adventure game in the early 2000s called The Experiment, or I think it was called Experience and some numbers in the French version.
Yeah.
It's like you were not in control of the main character. You were hiding out in a control room, and you had to communicate with her by flashing lights and moving cameras.
Which is, I mean, it's a really unique system, but if you have no idea what you're doing, it's really frustrating.
I mean, even though that's
Use your
the
map, Bob.
gimmick, what it boils down to is it just plays like a normal adventure game. It doesn't... There's a couple of cool things, like you have to kind of use their computer systems to get doors and stuff open, which is kind of like... I really like that idea. That you are this kind of physical presence in the game world, like hacking doors to get them open, activating systems in combination with the AI that's wandering around. But it doesn't...
That's really gross.
Oh, for a second there, I thought you killed her. I was gonna
No.
say, whoa!
I'm surprised you can't kill them. I mean,
Well, that's the thing. It's like PG-13 rather than
Yeah, they
a
probably
4.
couldn't have gotten it past the ratings, like, if they did that. Although, like,
You have
obviously...
the Immortal, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's...
okay, I think she left the house entirely, so I'm not...
If she went out the front door, yes. That is your ultimate end goal, is to lead them, get them out of the house.
By the way, EA also distributed Crew Ball on the Genesis.
Yeah, that was another weird
This
one.
is a surprisingly alright pinball game. It's just the
It really
Motley
is.
Crew endorsement is a little weird, but that was
Well,
not the original intent. It was
Yeah,
Twisted
fortunately,
Flipper.
you can find the Twisted Flipper beta version on somewhere on the internet.
Was that before or after they had the license?
It was before, because they had almost finished it before they got the license.
Was the intent that they would eventually get the license? I have to wonder.
I don't know. I will have to actually play it, because I have it on my EverDrive card right now. But unfortunately, that's in the other room, so I can't just fire it up right now.
Speaking of that, Bob, did anybody happen to request Dragon's Revenge?
They did not, sorry.
Jesus.
No, surprisingly, it's only good games this time around.
Thank you for our audience for not making me play terrible games. I appreciate
You guys
that.
should have requested Bubsy Fractured Furry Tales. I'm incredibly disappointed.
Yes!
Haven't
Well,
done that a few times, though.
I think we have streamed it at least once, yeah.
I'll have an excuse at Jaguar Emulation is terrible.
It just barely works for Bubsy. You can handle Bubsy.
But can you
What could
handle
possibly go wrong?
By the way, is anyone in the chat?
Yeah, there's quite a few people, actually. Mostly Mr. Argent right now, as well as Asa and
Oh, hey, so
Fanatic. Cambertian was here. I wonder if he's still watching. And Giant Robot mentioned something too. Hey, and there's Cerebus.
Oh god, I just realized something about Bubsy. What could possibly go wrong?
I'm
What
sure
could
Yeah.
You see,
I
that's
can't
the thing.
believe I never realized that.
I'm reasonably sure that's exactly how they spell it in the manual.
Oh god.
They
let's get back to the mystery vein.
like that on and off. Sometimes
Shut up,
it's
Bex.
just
I'm gonna
possibly,
murder
sometimes it's possibly. Also, is that little girl wearing a Creeper t-shirt?
An early version of it.
Sure does look that way.
You would
Yeah,
think that a child would be the easiest one to scare.
I would have to agree with Argent, though. He says, next time we do a stream like this, we need to play E.T. Comes Back for the Apple II.
Not the Texas Adventure with E.T.
I'm not sure. I'm unfamiliar with it. But
It's basically a more advanced and actually working version of the 2600 game, from what I remember reading.
Was that a fan game? Or...
No, it was actually released by Atari. It's just that it was the post-crash Atari, so they were under different management. I'm probably very wrong about this because I'm basically summarizing an article that I read a year and a half ago. from memory. But there is an article about it on HG101 where somebody actually like figured out how to play the 2600 ET game.
Well, it's not that hard a game to figure out.
You know, honestly,
Well,
It's just not really working.
there's that one. I mean, that one article, and it was kind of like. Well, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there's a certain debate on the thread about this where it seemed like it was trying a little too hard to defend ET. It's really not a good game. I mean, there's really not
Well,
much
compared to like
good
other
about-
games of the time, didn't Hero come out around that time or something?
Yeah.
Well, a little after. That's the thing.
Activision were pretty
have,
much the undisputed kings of the 2600, though. They were
You can
beating
have
the pants off of everything. That's
I
hard.
Well,
Magic word
that's
bad.
kind of a problem with his other game, or other big game that was Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's
yeah, that game
you know-
is confusing, if not more so.
2 controllers. 2 controllers. Why?
2 controllers and the console itself.
Okay, that's 2 people gone.
if you could, and that's the thing. If you can, I don't know. I mean, if somebody explains them to you, you can figure it out. But it's something that kind of requires you actually reading the manual, and I don't know if it's. I don't know. That just seems like bad game design for back then, because there's plenty of games that are really good. Like like you mentioned, Hero. You can figure that out by yourself without having the manual. But with ET or Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's going to be really unlikely you're going to figure that out by yourself without reading the manual or FAQ or something along those lines. And I guess it's good that he was trying to do. I'm forgetting his name. It's like Warren. Not Warren Bobinator.
Warren
Is it?
Spector?
Howard
No.
Scott.
Oh.
Howard Scott Warshot, yeah.
Yeah.
He
that
was obviously trying to do something different. That's cool. I mean, like the whole thing with the inventory system and everything, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is a really terrible game. Like, even if you know how you play it, it's a terrible game. About the only thing that's kind of cool about it is the fact that you've got an inventory and you can...
Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
just a
Sorry, I'm just rambling.
His head just blew up.
Cool.
He needs to like make that happen for real, though.
I can't quite remember. Would this game have been inspired by Beetlejuice or something?
Probably.
I would imagine so, because it came out probably around the time that the Beetlejuice cartoon was a thing.
A couple years after, actually, but it was still on the air.
Yeah, I want to say it was still in
Well, it's
syndication.
very similar to Beetlejuice in terms of conceit. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Is anyone ever a game called God Ghostmaster? Apparently that's a very similar game.
I've heard
I
mixed
think
things about that, but yeah.
Isn't Ghostmaster, hasn't that been on Steam for like 68 cents or something?
Yeah, it's really cheap. It's really cheap no matter which service you go with.
I've never played. I don't know if it's any good or not.
Next time it goes on sale for 68 cents, I might have to go grab it.
Well, wait for Christmas. I think it usually just flatlines in price.
Awesome.
In response to Brian on the chat, yeah, I mean, there's tons of them that they're simple games and they're terrible games as well. So, I mean, at least ET has, I guess, trying to go for. I mean, it tried going for something a little different, which that's fine. It's just, it's really. I don't think it's nearly as bad as like people let it on to be. Like, it's not a legendary bad game. There's a lot worse out there, but at the same time, it's something that if he had had more time to think it through and wasn't being rushed to get that out for Christmas, maybe he would have realized that, making it the way that it was, there was things that he could have
Was
done
he on
to make it
crystal
more.
meth at the time, and that's how he was able to get the game out so fast?
Wait, what?
I remember
Who?
reading something
What?
about
I don't
that.
know about that, but
What?
Who's this?
Cocaine, everything.
Howard Scott Warshaw, I'm sure like a lot of those guys were on coke.
Yeah, probably.
So-
Not solely their
Entire
name.
Atari
So what you're implying, I'm guessing, is that Howard Scott Warshaw is the video game designer equivalent of Dr. Roxo from Metalocalypse?
That's 3 people out.
I do cocaine.
I woke
I'll
up
actually make it this time.
So now you get to scare the evil Italian CEO.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I'm Italian. Whoppers.
I think any room that has a door that leads outside of the house, that you can technically get them to go out, but it's really tricky. Because if you notice, the boys' room actually has like a an exit that leads out to the backyard, I assume. Oh god, there's a body in the door. Oh god! Oh, that is really gross.
I really could not imagine this game on a Nintendo system, even at the time. Wait, was this around the time when Mortal Kombat 2 was ported to...
Hey, Cal, you may
We're still coming out of the thing?
Maybe you adjust your mic a little bit.
Yeah, you're really quiet, Satanga. Hey, you should possess the... Oh, wait, no, he left the room.
I was talking to Cal.
Oh, Cal, yeah. Satanga and Cal are both a bit quiet.
He was like, well, he was like breathing into his mic too, so that's why I was saying that.
Yeah, man, I'm breathing into the mic.
One thing starring Polterguy, 1993.
I was trying to be nice and quiet about it and not bring attention
Did it
to
have
it.
one of those Sega ratings like MA13 or such?
Probably.
Exactly that. It also has the 16 meg symbol on the front.
Because we all know, the larger a game is, the higher the quality it is.
So there you go. There's a couch with lips on this cover.
Argent says that your body is in this game? What? Did I miss that? Did that already happen?
What?
He says, I think the body in the trunk may have been that of the player.
Actually, the player was ran over, and the guys were never... The guy was never,
Convicted?
like, tried or anything for it, if I recall, is the backstory. Like, they ran your ass over, and then they just... You know, they made it seem like an accident or whatever. I'm trying to remember the
Somebody
exact story.
dropped it.
Okay, so the back of the box here claims that this actually has a two-player competitive mode.
I've never seen
I don't know
that.
how.
But the one screenshot that actually shows it in action shows both players in hell. So take that how you will.
Oh yeah, that's probably exactly how it works.
Okay, that's everyone out of the house. I just gotta figure out what to do next.
Oh, here we are. From
Yeah,
the
you just
creators
usually
of the arcade hits Paperboy, Cyberball, 720 Degrees, and Rampart.
Now be careful, you will run into the dog in the next few houses, and he's a huge asshole, as well as some sort of weird ghost that'll steal your goo.
That actually makes a lot of sense. This game does seem pretty similar in style.
Yeah, I'm mostly seeing the influence of Paperboy in here. But who specifically? Dave Ralston and John Solwitz. They are the ones responsible for design. It looks like Dave Ralston went on to do Skitchin and Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City, and then was game design lead on Final Fight Streetwise after a very long career gap.
That's a way to get back into the game, huh?
And then John Solwitz looks like he stayed at EA for a while, but also had some outings to other companies.
Oh, okay, so
with a 2K Sports, and then back to EA for Medal of Honor.
So it looks like your character's actually powered by Ecto Cooler. Because he said Morris, he's going to score some more Ecto. And this is the 90s, what else could it be?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a crossover opportunity.
I was going to say
Ecto
maybe
Cooler
it's
actually
also...
like a Ghostbusters tie-in at one point.
Yeah, it was.
What was it, Ghostbusters tie-in?
Ecto Cooler.
Yeah, it
I
was.
used to drink this stuff all the time.
So is everyone in Barkley Shut Up and Jam Guy then. It's basically life.
Well, I always prefer Capri Sun.
Well, it is basically like Capri Sun, isn't it? Same company? I don't remember.
It was High C.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. It came in the little boxes, didn't it? Rather than the weird Capri Sun pouches. Also, don't Canadians actually drink milk out of stuff like Capri Suns or something? Like they get it out of a bag?
Yeah,
Wow,
we
what?
had that at our school district for a little while, though. It's real weird.
Ew. Sorry. It's hard to imagine an opaque liquid in a bag for me.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
Except for maybe a blood pack. Actually, that's even weirder. I'm sorry.
Well, I know that the military will do that with water too.
Just hook it to my veins.
Did she just drop her dress?
I'm not sure.
I
Very
am
dubious.
not able to see what happens here. No, it doesn't look like it.
I swear she did at some point. I was like, that's kind of.
Unless I'm very far behind on the stream, I've not actually seen that happen.
Well, this is one of the games that lent Sega its more adult reputation.
I would argue Splatterhouse did a much better job of that.
Well, yeah, both 2 and 3. Great games. Great games.
Organization.
Be garbage, a cesspool, etc.
Well, that game, I was
Oh, that's cool.
Refrigerator mummy.
The Iceman.
I don't know, I would say the thing about Splatterhouse is it's not a very, it's not realistic, like, it's just gross.
Alright.
Something like this is a more realistic situation, but with a lot of, like, creepiness and violence to it.
It's, actually, no, somebody already brought up a comparison.
Oh, there's a dog.
Yeah,
Can
watch
I
out
do
for the dog.
something to you? What is
Yes.
Anything like the dogs from Vendetta?
Well, I know the dog can attack you. I don't know if the dog has to be by itself, or...
I think the idea is that dogs attack, like, punks and stuff, because they're punks.
Well, the dog knows where you are. It can smell you and sense you, and there's a very good reason for that later on in the game.
Because dogs are inherently hell beasts that have spiritual connections to the underworld.
Wow, you totally killed that bird! It is actually legit dead.
It just kind of bursts into flames for no reason.
Yeah. It's gone forever.
And when you return to the room, it will have risen from the ashes. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'll have to check. I'd check if I weren't on just a big time limit.
Time limit's not that strict. Again, it's very hard to die in this game.
I've already
It gets
died
set
twice.
easier the further in you get.
It's more of a punishment for taking too long than,
Oh, yeah,
than
burn
like
back.
a lost condition.
Oh, so the bird isn't dead, it just has the appearance of being dead.
So it's a phoenix.
It's funny for the fjords.
Ah, of course. Excuse me.
That was good timing, though.
You did that on purpose.
No, I didn't.
Whoa.
No, you didn't. Huh.
That was my email.
Okay, that was pretty gruesome.
I thought that was the timer.
We need more drops in here.
Oh, wow, that's pretty gross.
Wow. Whoa.
Tell you what, I'm actually going to silence my phone because I really should get in the habit of doing that.
You're using try a different scare tactic rather than the same one. I think you need to get her, if you want her to move in a specific direction, you haunt something somewhere else. You kind of have to lead them through the room, is how I understand it. Like, you haunt to something where you want them to move.
That rocket
Yeah,
explode on her butt.
Like, it seems like scaring someone will actually, well, attempting to scare someone will actually lead them to it. And then they'll book for the nearest exit or something like that.
Maybe that's how it works. So I guess I want to
I wasn't.
mess with stuff on the
This
east
game-
edge of the room, then? Maybe that'll do it.
Maybe, I don't know. I forget the exact
fun
trick.
than the ooze.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a little
that-
bit more playable than
Okay,
the
that was
ooze.
kinda
Like,
gross.
Does this one have a depressing game over screen like the ooze?
no, I think it's just like, oh well, they got away.
It wouldn't be.
No, you know what,
punk if-
Snarbu, you're right. Her skirt just falls down for no reason. But you know, that would be a lot more interesting if she were worth looking at.
Let's see if this
Ouch.
is close to the front door.
Serious, that was over the line.
That was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, you want to lead them to places. There's two different kinds of scares. There's active scares, and then there's passive ones. Okay, yeah, she's gonna leave.
Okay, got her.
Now you gotta get all the other people out of the house. I would like to see a sequel to this. I mean, Ghostmaster I haven't played. Man, how does that compare, really?
I thought it was. I thought you controlled ghosts, and spook people rather than, using environmental objects.
I wonder, would Lucius count as a game like this, or is that more like a Hitman kind of
That's
game?
more like Hitman, only you have to be like, you should, if I recall, if you haunt the TV with the newscaster, something really gross happens.
Yeah, Lucius isn't much like this, although it is.
Same with the dartboard.
The sequel to Lucius might be a lot more like this. Apparently, it's very open.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing a sequel. That game had a cool concept.
Yeah, apparently the sequel, they're like, instead of targeting one person, there's going to be tons and tons of people, and you're going to have a lot more freedom to just be evil and crazy.
To choose one person over another at a given time instead of being told, avoid this person, kill this person.
Yeah, you don't want to be anywhere in the same room as the dog, because it'll summon the poltergeist or whatever. Yeah, that thing. That thing will kill you dead.
I believe that's the Oni from the Venture Brothers.
For some reason, you mentioning the Oni makes me think of that. Is that an RPG Maker game, Ao Oni?
Yes.
That freaking game.
It's forever tainted because
It's not even.
I played it.
It's not even really
That's how I
that
first learned
scary,
about
come
it.
to think of it. It's just weird. And
So are you saying at some point you willingly watched a PewDiePie video, Tangu?
This is before I knew how contagious he was.
the one I watched was not his. I want to say it was. I don't even know. It was two people. It was before I even knew who the guy was.
What's the deal with RPG Maker being used for horror games? Like,
I think it's because they're following the example of the one that's considered the most classic, the original Corpse Party for PC 98.
oh right.
Because that was made on the PC 98 version of RPG
Time
Tsukuri, or
And that's the timer.
RPG Maker.
I didn't realize that
But,
PC-98 had a proper RPG Maker.
Alright.
I want to say that was the original one, too. That the Super Famicom one was a sequel to it.
Next, we have a game that someone requested. I think it was Feynman, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But multiple people actually requested this game, so I went ahead and put it on the list. It is not a game I'm especially familiar with, so I don't make any promise to be any good at it.
So how's that different to every other game?
Hey, I'm not that terrible, am I? Can I answer that?
時は元禄。
Man, I really
弥
like
生
Split.
花の大江戸では、舞よ、娘や幼子が行
Expert
方知
sounds
れ
like
ず
a
となってい
rapper's
る。
name.
幾日か後に、
That's
無
exhibit.
残なムクロとなり果て、路傍に打ち捨てられた幼子は見つかっ
This
たが、
looks
娘たちは、二度
Is
と
this Taromaru?
This is Psychic Killer Taromaru.
Something of a holy grail for the Saturn, isn't it? Or PlayStation? One's
Saturn,
a-
actually.
Saturn, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I said Saturn initially. My voice is just mumbly. Yeah.
Also, yes, everything is in Japanese, so I'm kind of in trouble there. Oh, timer. So yeah, I've played a bit of this, but didn't get especially far.
I'm hearing some rumbling against someone's mic.
It is not me, I can tell you that, because I can hear it too.
So, if I remember this right, you have to get close to enemy, and that brings up a targeting reticle. Then you just mash speed and lightning at them, that kills things.
It's a sort of an auto-aimed attack.
There's also this fire attack of some sort, but I don't know what that does.
Yeah, we have someone in our chat named Saturn Memories, who I can only assume that's a reference to this game being a Saturn game.
Oh, he was on Twitter helped me find a better version of this game than I was using before. So thank you for that,
Yeah,
by the
thanks
way.
again. Thanks again.
He says two things that would be helpful here. One, you really want turbo with this game. Not that helps too much at this point, but... And two, he says you can also hold the B button for a charge attack.
Good to know.
This basically looks like Shinobi without the infuriating hitbox issues.
It's also a little bit reminiscent of Mystic Defender.
Well, the way the auto aim works reminds me of Alestria Driftland.
Kind of makes me want to play that. What was that game where you're like the floating head? Is that Zombie Nation?
Yeah, Zombie Nation.
I want to play that game.
Also known as a Barenbo Tengu in Japan. Where you're a floating Tengu mask instead of the...
I still can't find that picture. The one that I told you about.
I think if my memory's serving.
He also says the A button will let you possess enemies, and possessed enemies can be used as a screen clearing bomb.
Oh, cool.
He says either X or Y.
Yeah, Zombie Nation was like an unofficial... Well, it had a lot of people that worked on Namco games before that, so...
I forget, was that the one?
It's by the Genpei and Bravo Man people. So, the soundtrack's by Mario Nakagata and...
I was going to ask, was that the one that was developed by Kaze, the people that do the digital pinball stuff?
Okay, now
I know Meldak was involved, and they were also with it.
You know, I'd have to look, but I do know that like 3 or 4 people from the who worked on all these games for.
It looks like yes, indeed they are. In fact, that's actually the first game that they're credited for on Wikipedia.
The animation in this game for the enemies is glorious.
I don't know how many lives you get, because I'm assuming 9 lives are in Japanese too.
Yeah, it's those digits under your portrait.
That was funny. He did the shadow substitution, where they hit a log instead of you.
Is this early Saturn or late Saturn?
I don't entirely
This is 95, I believe, 94, 95. So not too early, but not too late.
I'm actually kind of enjoying this, though. This isn't that bad.
94 is pretty early.
He also says there.
Oh, 97. My bad. Wow.
Oh, 97.
He also says there was apparently some treasure staff that worked on this game, so that
I can kind of see that.
The art style. Yeah, that too.
Oh man,
I could have sworn this. I guess maybe it was just. I just remember seeing a lot about this in Game Fan. So.
What they say about it?
They said it's like, oh man, this is an awesome looking game. Don't buy it though; it's really short and easy.
This is really off topic, but I've just learned something that has completely broken my heart. In 2005, Kaze, the people that make the digital pinball games, made a Shin Megami Tensei pinball game for Japanese mobile phones.
Oh.
Contact Zen pinball copy. Or Farsight. Either one.
Yeah. It sucks, though. I miss when everybody made, really cool, imaginative pinball tables. Now everybody's just kind of doing simulation pinball.
Yeah, we need another Devil's Crush.
It's not bad, but I kind of miss the ridiculousness of virtual pinball stuff, especially the well, there's the Crush series, but especially the Budgeco pinball games like Virtual Pinball and the Construction Set from the Apple II.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're not limited to the dimensions of a real pinball table. You can just make it as tall or wide as you want to.
The construction.
I'm assuming I can't possess every enemy, like these zombie things.
Yeah, it's literally called Pinball Construction Set, and it was released in like 83, 84.
Was that the one that had the really, really depressing title screen music?
No, I want to say that was the 21st Century one.
He's referring to a video he made where I'm trying to describe the music of this game X is referring to. Imagine making a pinball table, only you're the last man alive on Earth.
Wait, what?
And Chucky is after you, or something.
Wait, Brad? Really?
But actually, here's what I've got for you in the Skype chat box. Is the cover artwork for Bill Budge's Pinball Construction Set, and it is really surreal. I can describe it as two ceramic hands coming out of a grid board with a floating metallic sphere between them.
That looks like an incredibly late 80s, early 90s album cover to, I don't know, Yes, let's see.
For some reason it strikes me more as a Journey cover, and I have no idea why.
I'm starting to like this target rifle that much, because it makes it hard to decide what I want to hit.
Now, can you toggle between targets, or...?
I don't know.
It seems like toggling between targets would be inefficient since of the speed at which you have to shoot things.
Like, I cannot hit this boss because he's always flying projectiles and such.
What do the shoulder buttons do?
That sounds like a design decision, though.
Shoulder buttons don't do anything, from what it seems like.
Yeah, I was just wondering if maybe it would toggle using one of those.
Okay, that was my last life, I guess. But I gotta continue.
I'm getting a little bit of Genpei tones maybe?
Or Getsu Fumaden.
Getsu Fumaden's is still ripped off of Genpei Fumaden.
Yeah, I was about to say, even though
it also ripped off. Well, I was gonna say it actually ripped off Dragon Spirit too. Like if you look at the opening, that is a complete and utter rip-off. I mean, it's more of a coincidence though, because they kind of came out around the same time.
That's true. Standing on the mountain. That's true.
This boss will not find these demon heads. It's gonna get annoying.
Yeah, Saturn Memory says focus on the priest because they will just make more of those Hanyas.
I'm glad you know the actual term because I'm kind of lost.
Well, I'm not sure if those are Oni or Hanya. They look... No. Because Hanya are like... but usually they're white, the masks. P-beams. And I forget the name of it, but that is a type of spider. It's like there's like a buffalo demon. I just love like the old yokai pictures because they always have like these really screwed up like stoner eyes on the monsters.
Does this represent the Oni? It's like a blank.
No, I don't think this is the what do you call it? Ketsume or Uruzume Ketsu, something like that. But
I only remember that from the Game Boy.
And those are fire wheels are a that's a type of yokai. I forget the actual names.
The Buer or something.
Well,
I don't
Bureau's the
think
name
that's
in La Mulana, but yeah, they've I forget. There's a name. Usually, there's like an old man's face in the middle of it.
I always see like a wheel of fire with a lion's head in the middle, and usually called Viewer, but I don't think that's what they're trying to do there.
I don't know.
But I've also seen it transliterated as Buell, and I'm not sure which one's right.
Bueller.
Don't! I thought about it, but...
You know, funny, I just finished watching that movie earlier today.
Never saw
Now,
any good.
does knowing... I was going to say, does knowing that Jeffrey Jones is a pederast, does that add any kind of creepiness to that movie for you?
It kind of just makes me sad because he has the greatest glare faces in that movie.
Yeah, it was just... I mean, it's a shame that
second
he's a
here.
sicko like that, but...
No,
it's also
I'll
a
tell you-
shame that he hasn't paid his crime, you know, for... Yeah, he's
I'll
one
tell
of
you
those
what.
people.
What movie gets a lot more disturbing now with him being that way is The Crucible.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say who's Harry Crumb. Or Beetlejuice, for that matter.
Another person is, let's see, another movie, and we've
tuned.
definitely talked about this. Well, yeah. But no, the whole thing with Bueller, your ass is mine. That just sounds.
You would go back to that one.
But no. The whole thing with Jeepers Creepers, that guy, man, that's a crime that he continued to get work after being like. I mean, he was actually convicted
Aslo,
of
something or other.
yeah,
Sort of-
something. He's a sicko. Like,
Actually, a thing for Ferris also in retrospect that bums me a little was that Ben Stein is kind of a jerk. I forget why.
What did he do, if you don't mind sharing?
was it because he's a conservative?
Oh, okay.
Not so. Oh, I forget. Darn it. Well, I don't want to get too much into any cougar brood. I don't really know what I'm talking about, so it's bad.
So, how about that sports team?
Figure's gonna win! Figure's gonna go all the way!
So do we have not much to say about this game?
No, I mean it's an interesting game. It's just
It
like
looks really cool.
it's just that's what we do. Like
of-
I start to talk about inappropriate shit, and then
Yeah, true.
then we kind of go off on tangents.
I figured out what this game reminds me of, actually. Ninja 5-0 on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
Oh.
the character. Yeah, he kind of looks like him.
It's got almost the same kind of sprite style and the same really over-the-top bosses, and
It's a cool game.
the only thing that's really missing is the hostage rescuing stuff. Honestly, that was kind of a weak point of that game.
Is this game on one stage? Because this stage is going forever if it's not.
How many bosses are they going to throw at you on this one boat? That was a really cool fire whirl attack.
Lots of bosses sounds like a treasure MO.
I like how he's chasing all those little people.
Has Saturn
Sure,
Memory said
okay.
anything else, by the way?
What?
What's...
Has Saturn Memory said anything else lately?
Oh, he did.
Oh, yeah,
answer
yeah.
Your question, yeah. He says it is all one continuous stage, and there's just lots and lots and lots of bosses.
Interesting.
So now you know.
Well, that would certainly be a novel approach for the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think boss rush games were really starting to become a thing at the time yet. Unless you count
this is-
fighting games.
Well, you had Alien Soldier before that, and those were, you know, the boss rush thing was mostly treasure games. Dorama dolls in the background for some reason.
Actually, the only other boss rush game that existed before that was the strategy title, where you just sent cloned armies of Bruce Springsteen to siege castles.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. You know, boss rush.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Really horrible and elaborate setup for a joke.
That actually, you know, that might be a good joke indie game.
I'd play it.
Yep.
Although to be fair, neither me or Bob has a taste in games, so.
Or Springsteen.
Last Springsteen?
Yes, last Springsteen. Was that the one from Contra Hardcore?
Yes, and they reused it for Contra Rebirth.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Cool. I don't know what the deal with the final boss in Rebirth is, though, because that boss reminds me of something out of Earthworm Jim or something. It's just really weird and kind of out of context.
Why, because it's made trash?
Yeah, the big trash thing at the end of Contra Rebirth. I'd look up a video of it, it's just very bizarre. So I'm seeing this game, and I'm not quite sure how to describe it, because it seems like you just have that one lock-on attack.
I know you can possess enemies, but it doesn't seem to work on anything but like one type of enemy, so I figured I'd bother using it.
It's kind of an interesting looking game, but it definitely looks action-packed.
Well, it's fine, I mean, I'm not hating it.
Kind of looks like it has that problem that games with lock-on systems have, where it locks onto everything you don't want it to.
Well, given that I have not yet seen a single loading screen on this is definitely one of the better Saturn games in terms of that, I think.
Hey, Archit, to answer your question, Last Springsteen actually is a pun or a play on words, because Springsteen was often, or Bruce Springsteen was often called the boss, so it means last boss.
Don't forget, we need to tell people what people are asking in the chat.
What else are they asking?
Hi.
I wish there was a way to export that easier, the chat stuff.
Well, Livestream let you see the window, but this does not, so...
You have to have
there are a lot of people that do Twitch streams that will actually somehow manage to include the chat box in the actual stream.
Yeah, well, one thing I was thinking about doing is, like, whenever we, like, if there was an easier way to output everything and get it formatted to some degree.
What if I made a window capture of the chat box in Twitch from the browser? Would that do it?
Yeah, you
know,
create a separate window for that.
I'm not going to do that this time.
I don't know if Hitbox has a method for this, but I actually did find, when I was playing around with Twitch before, I did find that there is a way to tie into the chat program using IRC, and literally have a bot that just parrots, that dumps it into the chat client for you.
We'll have to figure that out, because, you know, there's been a lot of times when we'll make reference to the chat. It'd be kind of nice to be able to do, like, a little subtitle or something like that over the...
There's a Let's Player I like, a super great friend stream slotting.
Service says XSplit can do that.
I mean, you should read out any comment that's made anyway.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that more often, make sure we talk about what people in chat are actually saying. Sometimes we forget, so we apologize if it's unseen.
There's definitely a way to capture the chat, though.
I'd like to figure that out. That might be important.
Relying on us.
Now, this is a very Contra-esque boss, although it could also be Biohazard Battle with the sperms it shoots out. The heart that pumps out sperm.
I do love the set a lot more than Lantern, though. I should have done this a lot earlier.
Yeah.
You have to start testing that out, so...
We
that's something I can...
Video worked out pretty well.
That's something I can play with as well and figure out on my stream, so...
Do they have any, like, you know, things that, like, you can't show?
You can't do... It's purely games on Hitbox. If you're talking about in terms of game content, I can't answer that for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'd have to look at the official guidelines on that.
Show the rants.
I imagine it's probably like anything that can't be sold on American store shelves probably isn't.
So how about that Knights of Zerker?
Well, I just finished
Over
Rants
mission.
1. It's hilarious.
Ah, so you're fighting the skeleton asshole again, only he's tiny and he's on a staircase.
And I can't seem to shoot him.
He doesn't have limbs. No, you're going after the weird bird dudes, I think. Tangu or
Called
whatever.
Tangu, yes, correct. I was about to correct.
Okay, I guess you shoot these things to keep them away from you. That's how it works. 'Cause I can't seem to target the bird man, Tangu.
Although I can't remember the names for the different types. There's like the old man Tengu, and then there's the ones that look like crows.
And then there's Mr. Karate.
Okay, so
Yes.
here's what Saturn Memory says. You gotta use your charge shot on this boss. Lock onto his laser beams. They'll bounce around. And take out the bird guys to use your charge
Okay.
shot. So using your charge shot, yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah, Karasu Tengu are the crow ones.
This game does some interesting boss fights, doesn't it?
Oh, so was that
Okay,
what the
Saturn Memories says do rapid right now.
Yeah, go to rapid fire.
I'm
Now
wondering.
there was a Lone Ranger type guy named Brahma Tengu. He was like ninja.
This game's giving me carpal tunnel syndrome.
Well, what are you using to play it with?
Logitech, not Logitech, Hori Fighter
Oh,
Commander.
I see how this works. You have to fire the fireballs back at him.
Yeah, the Hori Fight Commander. It's a decent controller, but I wasn't getting much love from it when I was using it as a Saturn pad.
It also meant, okay, Saturn Memories also says use your shield to block the flames.
What's shield?
It's like X, Y, or Z. He said one of the top buttons. Not the top buttons, but
Yeah, the top row.
Okay, why? Can I just use that as much as I want?
No, there's probably a meter or something.
There's a meter under my health, but I don't know what it does.
Probably for the possession stuff.
is that your charge meter?
Of course, it could also very well not even be
Yeah,
display.
it
Okay,
is.
so according to Saturn Memories, you can in fact use the shield. It's a timing thing, I assume. So, just go hog wild, I guess.
Which use do I get? We haven't run out yet.
Yeah. Well, you have 0 lives now, so. Oh.
What are you telling me lives you have?
It
I'm
says 2
guessing
people
it's-
underneath the life.
Yeah.
Or under the little portrait.
It has like a O shape and a horizontal swiggle that's around. See, this game is educational.
Actually, it's no, that's 2 and then person.
Because it only takes them 2 characters to write that out. I wonder if
Yeah.
that's why where the tendency for them to show X2 came from in the US version of games.
Probably, but I think they just. Oh, and then the symbol above, there's like the 422. There's a symbol for soul.
That's how many kills I've done, I think.
Yeah, so I guess you've killed that many people.
Yeah, it just went up 3 times as he killed those 3 Tengu, so whatever those things are.
Do I possess these?
Oh, hey, it's the ninja from.
Also, shrine maidens. I recognize those, actually.
Yes.
Miko.
Right.
Yep.
And
Wait, now you're murdering shrine maidens?
oh, they're apparently
He's-
trying to kill him first.
They're all Mizuki.
Or they're all those ninja maids from Aria of Sorrow.
These more.
Priestesses cannot be possessed, oddly enough, maybe because the main protagonist doesn't want to perform a gender bender.
I can't seem to possess anything for some reason. It's only on very specific types of enemies, it looks like.
Yeah.
Well, it's like okay, giant robot. It's kind of like both. Now, I mean, there's like different things, but yeah, that's like.
I feel like the 2.5D background setup they have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's got some
the-
neat effects going on it, especially when it
Yeah, they
rotates.
actually look really good.
This is definitely like an interesting style that you don't see enough of.
Yeah, the 2D sprites and 3D backgrounds kind of thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get very much of that, like on the PlayStation.
Because Sony America thought all we wanted was 3D games.
What was that? But didn't they had real limited RAM, so it would have been difficult for them to get the sprites too.
I want to say the PlayStation had basically all of 4 megabytes of RAM in total for sprites and everything to do.
I think it was actually closer to 3.
Which is why PlayStation ports of games from other systems often had either really limited animations, really limited textures, or really bad quality sound.
I just remember, like for instance, the openings to the Street Fighter Alpha games. They had to use the FMV, whereas the Saturn versions would have the, like, I guess
The
in-game
actual sprite-based ones.
Exactly.
Okay, here's something Saturn Memories is saying. Just get to the frog boss. Don't game over before the frog boss, the second part of it. Oh, here we go. Right here.
What's so special about the frog boss?
We'll probably see.
This is actually a really cool set piece already.
Oh, crap.
Okay, this is pretty interesting.
Crabadon.
Classic, like...
Oh, he ate me, I think.
Puppet stuff.
Just get the... Yeah, he says he swallows you.
Are you supposed to be swallowed by the frog?
Well, it hurts you, but I don't know how to avoid it.
It's funny, the frog eggs. Shield.
He says, don't worry about his hands. So how do you aim at this game exactly? Does it
use the
it's
shield
automatic.
on the...
If you move close to something, you put a target rifle over, then you hit B to shoot it. Okay, someone answer me a question. Maybe someone can answer it this me. What is the connection with ninjas and frogs?
Jiraiya. It's the story of Jiraiya. He had a giant frog, where he could summon frogs.
Oh, so that's why all the ninjas and avenging spirits suddenly sprout frogs underneath them.
That or like
Killer
Taromaru, yeah.
Yeah, I can't seem to avoid that. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a gotta kill him before he does it kind of thing.
But that's the one that the first, no, was it the first or second? No, it was the first Far East of Eden game, and then characters in Naruto. There's people that are based off of that. But
well, I mean, there's a character in Naruto that's what it's called, Jiraiya.
Yeah, Jiraiya, and he's got, like, he can summon the frogs and stuff, so... But yeah, the three main characters, there's Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru, so...
It says the frog will swallow you. Okay, Saturn Memory says, yeah, he will swallow you once you beat him the first time, so...
Well, I mean, he
guess
does
we're now
have an
inside
attack,
the frog.
and I can't seem to dodge it, is what I'm saying.
Oh, hey, this is like Yoshi's Island.
Or Joe and Mac,
Frog.
tons of games do this.
What do you call it? New Zealand story, too.
Oh, yeah, that's
Right down to the
Crystal
stomach
Lake.
acid dropping things.
At least there's no Fox Lady corpses in here.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it, Marvin!
Hey, I had to mention it.
Oh, I did not do that.
Why is the Fox Lady named Patrick anyway?
I always wondered that myself.
I think it's because the American developers thought she was a cat.
Was that ever the
No,
link
that was her name in the Japanese version, too, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Saturn Memory says it's more important to block with your shield than to try and dodge.
Got it.
What about sliding? Does that render you invincible like in Contra Hard Course?
Night, Cambertian.
Alright,
Later.
see ya.
Thank you for watching.
Yep.
What game did he pick? Forget.
I don't think he voted. Oh, wait, he did. He did. He picked a Wario Land, the original.
Ah, nice.
I don't know if I've ever played the original.
So I didn't get around to it.
Oh,
Basically, imagine the Virtual Boy one just with different levels and running on the Game Boy.
And not red scale IMGs.
I really hope they bring Virtual Boy Wario Land back somehow, because that is too good to doom to extinction.
Yeah.
No, they won't. That's the Nintendo we're talking about.
Honestly, I like Taromaru.
Yeah.
Time over!
And that's the game.
That was just at the end that we had little sprites.
Good timing. I ran the credits.
Yeah.
Wait, what? You beat it?
No,
I
you
don't know.
died.
I ran out of credits. I got game over.
Oh, you ran out of credits. I thought you said you reached the credits.
Alright.
He reached
That was
the
a
credits
cool-
limit.
That was a cool ride there. I like that.
Yeah. Darn neat game, although I hear it's ridiculously pricey to actually get.
I'm also
Well,
not surprised that game wasn't
thanks again
popular
to
in 97.
Saturn Memories for the heads up on the emulator.
Yeah, thank you for helping me through the game. I actually kind of enjoy it. I just need to get better at it.
Wait, which emulator did you use, Bob? Was it SSF?
Yeah, that's like the only choice for Saturn emulation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it emulates so well.
What a shame that it still has problems with a lot of games, though. I mean, it would have been nice if we were able to play Mr. Bones the other time.
Yeah, I'm sorry that didn't work out.
That's probably some sort of glitch or something, if I had to guess.
And since
Probably the
Cambertian
game just
requested it,
didn't work
I
as
might as well
well
do
as
this.
Yeah, Mr. Bones doesn't seem, it's not particularly processed heavy.
I actually own this game. Well,
Ditto. I actually own Wario Lands 1 through 4, and
let me turn this down a moment.
the others.
This is one of the few Game Boy games that I've owned.
Is it a bold claim to say that Wario was more popular than Mario at a point?
More prevalent.
I'll let the intro play out, then I'll start
Yeah,
the
probably
timer.
more prevalent.
Mario, for a while there, it was sort of like with Mickey Mouse, where it's like it's just a figurehead, because there really weren't any games for.
Yeah, and then they brought him back, and we kind of wish they hadn't.
Yeah.
Timer starts now.
Yeah, because it's like all these. Yeah, they kind of beat to death the new Super Mario Brothers games.
Yeah.
I kind of like Wario because he's like basically what Nintendo does, dump all their ideas they can't do with Mario. I appreciate that.
He's like what Nintendo does in the fact that he's greedy. Sorry.
As the thing I always loved about the Wario games in general is the fact that it's basically Nintendo just completely let off their chain to just do random crap all the time. It's like they're parodying themselves most of the time.
It's too hard to say Dadaist, maybe?
But it's more like this is the Wario series is them basically told no game design documents, no rules, just make up a bunch of completely weird shit and then turn it into a game. I mean, how else would you explain the creation of the nose-picking minigame?
Yeah. There's really no explaining that.
So if any of you have not played this game, it's a little close to Super Mario Land 2 with a few changes. It does not play like 2 or 3 where you can't die.
Yeah, it's more like your hat represents your hit points. So if you've got an upgraded hat and you get hit, you basically shrink down to Mohawked Kid Wario or something, and then you get hit again and you're dead. But
I wonder why they decided to make a game based on the villain of Super Mario Land 2.
because Wario actually was probably the main reason Mario Land 2 sold as well as it did. So otherwise it probably would have been dismissed as Super Mario World reduced in size to be on a handheld.
Well, I
That's
do
not
remember
bad.
when they
Super
were
Mario-
advertising Super Mario Land, they did advertise it with Wario, so...
Alright, sorry, been this way. The land games are pretty good, though. Like, we were talking about, the first land a while ago, and it's pretty good for, like, a launch Game Boy game.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like all the goodness of the first Super Mario Brothers in a format that you can stick into your pocket, assuming you have generously sized pockets.
And Land 2 is basically trying to be Super Mario World, but this kind of does its own thing, which I appreciate.
Yeah. It's a thing that I generally really respect about the Game Boy generation of Nintendo games, is that they were encouraged to do more unique things because they knew they couldn't just get away with sticking miniaturized versions of their big console games on them.
This is back in the...
Forget how you get through here, Bob. I think you need something.
I know this game has a lot of secrets, like hidden treasures you need for the best ending and such.
Games like these, like within a property but wildly different, are from an era where companies could actually afford to take risks.
On the other hand, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Oh, well, I guess that nullifies some...
That's basically Far Cry in name and gameplay only. Which, I like.
There's been other instances of that too, I think, where there's been a spin-off where they spun something off from a main game because it was slightly more popular. I'm trying to think of a more recent example, though.
That's a good question.
Oh, hey, bonus game.
Something to do with Valve? I don't know. I mean, Portal became more famous than half.
That's true, yeah. That was sort of an odd sort of like tech demo / bonus for, whatchamacallit.
The orange box.
Orange box.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know, I think the orange box, the two takeaway games from it were TF2 and Portal. I don't think anyone really ended up caring that much about Episode 2.
Well, a lot of people care about it.
Including Gabe Newell! Oh!
Mostly because the games, because we've not seen a follow-up.
But,
well, that was a bust.
I've heard Sonic Boom's a pretty good spin-off.
God,
the
It's
cartoon,
not as good as Sonic Spinball, though.
The cartoon,
Cycle begins again. Okay.
The game, not so much.
Sonic Spinball, at least, whoa, it literally is a spin-off.
I've heard. Okay, here's the rumor I've been hearing about Sonic Boom. Apparently, they were rushing that out to get out of their contractual obligation with Nintendo for their last Sonic game on the Nintendo system.
Apparently, there's something scummy going with developers. Like a lot of people got fired in the middle of development. They might have pulled another Gearbox, or Sega might have.
It's a super.
I mean, we might be doing
Sonic or Sega has a really good development history, and they've got a lot of good properties that they could be using. But the biggest problem with them is that they just do not know how to run a business anymore.
They never knew how to run a business.
They got lucky with the Genesis generation.
But the Genesis was more like they still didn't know how to run a business. They screwed up like again and again on the business end.
They found a niche for the time, but then they went and squandered it.
Like the problem is, as I've said before, like the Japanese side is either not communicating or trying to screw over the American side completely.
That seems to be the problem with a lot of things, like with Konami and Capcom and
Nintendo to some
Nintendo.
degree.
Yeah, Definitely Nintendo.
Every company sucks.
We still
I have
Captain
to
Rainbow,
wonder,
damn it.
I still think Nintendo of America just hates us, though, because there's so many. Like, if you look at anything that's released over in Europe, they get these special editions that are a lot nicer for the same price, and we don't get crap. Certain games get released over there that we don't get.
Maybe it's a tough love thing.
I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a fan of Reggie Fils-Aimé. Yeah, he just seems kind of like a prick anyway. But...
Yeah, well, that's how you say his name is Fils-Aimé.
Fils-Aimé or whatever, Brow.
What nationality is that?
Sounds French.
French-Opinion. I don't know.
French-Opinion, yeah. He looks like a goon.
Dude.
He looks like somebody that'd be like, in the background, like helping the Joker. Have like a
So what you're saying, Miyamoto is actually the Joker all along? Is that what you're saying?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, with like making Bowser Jr. canon son of Bowser, that's sick.
Bowser 2, son of Bowser.
Wait.
And who knows what they were thinking with the Peach thing there.
Which Batman villains would notable game people be? I'm thinking Gaben for the Penguin.
Are we talking here? We're doing game developers.
No, I think that Gaben is like the he's the bomb.
I'm thinking just Batman villains for the time.
Oh, okay.
Which basically means that I can't say that Phil Fish is Loki.
Wah, wah.
Phil Fish is.
Just leave Phil Fish out of it. It was crazy.
Well, I was gonna say he would be Anarchy because he's a whiny little shit.
What I'm trying to figure out now though is which game developer is Bueno Excelente.
Weasel, I know. The guy who put up that one gender bender visual novel on Steam. That'd be him.
That implies maliciousness on that person's part, though, Bob, and I don't think it was malicious. Bueno Excelente is basically a teleporting rapist, so...
I'm starting to think I shouldn't have trembled down this road, have I?
Clearly.
God. Oh. God.
Or he says Excelente, let's not forget the greatness that is, I forget, that's a Garth Ennis character, isn't it?
Yeah, and he sexually assaulted Green Lantern. He married...
Real comics!
he also married Lobo.
Wait, really?
Like the actual Lobo or one of his spawned off clones?
No, it was well, I don't know if they back. I wish it's too bad that he can't come back and take care of new Lobo. Have you seen the new Lobo?
I have. He's still a thing? I thought he was put as a joke.
I only know him by reputation.
Really
that one Manly Guys comic that had him in it. And then
Manly Guy's doing manly things.
Shoots him in the head.
Bob, it looks like there was a secret in that quicksand.
I'm not sure. I'm worried that might kill me, though. So I'm worried to mess around with that.
It's probably an intentional secret. They probably were thinking, this one looks different. I wonder if anybody would fall into it.
Do you want me to try it?
Yeah, might as well. If you die, then you can blame me.
Alright, I will.
You got 7 lives, dude.
Yeah, I know. You're doing really well for yourself here. Might as well make it might as well make it harder on yourself.
I know if I had 7 lives in real life, I would take a lot more risks.
Well, that's one thing about this game. This game was more about, or I guess this series was a little more about being, they're a little more accessible, because especially the later ones where you can't die.
And they're all about going at a slower pace and just absorbing the levels and stuff.
Yeah, that works better with the format they have for the...
Especially since there's not technically a run button in most of them.
I always prefer Wario Land 4 more than 2 and 3, but I never had 2 and 3, so...
4 is probably the pinnacle of the series. It shifts, not for having...
4 is basically just the most polished and well-rounded of the Wario Lands. I haven't played Shake It, though.
Sorry, what were you saying about Shake It, Weasel?
I haven't played that one yet.
It's basically 4 with more waggle, which is okay.
I think my favorite thing about Wario Land 4 was the inexplicable music studio with the most foobar collection of sound effects.
I could never actually sit and listen to any of those because I was always paranoid that one of them would be a screamer.
There was this one that was pretty creepy. It had a sort of Egyptian horror movie vibe, is the best way I can put it.
I like the, speaking of weird horror things, there was that whole, I don't know if it was intentional or not. It does sound like it, but there's, the thing with Ashley and the record in, was it WarioWare Twisted or something?
Touch, that
where
was DS1.
Touched, okay, yeah, where it's like, I commend these spirits to hell if you play her song backwards.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, there's you get a album with a song and you could play the record backwards, by spinning it backwards, and then it sounds like she's saying Is it like I commend these children's souls to hell or something like that?
I think the exact line supposedly was, "I have granted kids to hell."
Oh, that's it. But it's like, this is a little witch, Satanist girl character, so.
And that's actually pretty significant compared.
I'm gonna have to bow out for the evening, but I can leave the call running. So.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty, X.
Take it easy, X.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Take care, peace.
Night, man.
Oh no, my
Yeah, I
coins.
forgot that was death. I should probably not have done that.
The bad touch pit of.
I think some type of lava can actually be gray. Like if it's a super molten something.
That's if it's
I guess we
cooling.
have the cover, the surface cover. I think I'm probably gonna bow out too. I'm wiped out. It's we're about 2 hours in, so I guess.
Yeah. We're only doing 6 games, but okay.
All right.
Well, he's also on these stories. Yeah, it's
Okay.
like what, almost
There's
midnight for you.
I got the ice. See you guys.
All right,
See you later,
see you.
Jojo. Take care and peace, sir.
All right, good night.
Raise the roof. I'm Wario.
Should we add a couple more people into
I guess Mr. Archer can finally pipe up, given he's been in this call the entire time. And
Yes! I'm
hey,
bringing
after
the Z-lister
1,000 years.
trash! Wait, did I just say that loud?
You did.
Oh,
Well, we'll get
That's just
JoJo to edit it to make it sound worse than it really is.
good. I'll record new lines too.
It just
Can I call them the proletariat and trash?
Yeah.
You're intending to do something
Like, I want to set like some kind of crazy dictator.
opiate of
Anyway.
the masses and all that.
Yeah, like,
If organized religion is the opiate of the masses, then disorganized religion is the marijuana of the lunatic fringe.
also
Being
make
that
it
one
less
creepy
different.
level Duke Nukem.
I cannot remember who said that quote now that I think of it.
Yeah, too bad all the fun part's over with. Oh well.
Well, we're still doing Wario.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
15
but
minutes
you're
left from Wario.
I thought Bowser-
Wario!
If we're talking about doing Wario, anyone want to mention Wario Date at this point?
I don't even really
Okay.
know what that is.
It's
I'm
Game
not
of
sure
the
if I
Year.
want to.
Yeah, it's Game of the Year, look it up.
I
Wow,
brought
that-
it up when Chris was here. He actually streamed it once.
So would it be safe to say that the good part of this... No, never mind. Let's see. So, I have to admit I've
It's
only played
me, Wario! Ho, ho, ho!
I just realized I'm probably way off with this revelation, but Wario is to Mario as Shadow is to Sonic.
Shadow's not quite like Wario.
Waluigi then.
Not quite like that either. He's there's this common trope you'll see in a lot of Japanese media where they just have an inverted version of a character. Wario is sort of that, but not exactly.
He was probably supposed to be originally, but
Right.
he took off on a very different character arc. I mean, maybe it's a result of the fact that Mario doesn't have much character to begin with.
Yeah, he has almost none. He's not
supposed to
really
be kind of like an archetype.
all outside of the way he looks.
Two burly plumbers.
Like, Mario's supposed to be more of an archetype than like an actual
I
character,
keep
isn't he? Or
saying, by
something?
the way, that if... I wish that they made a sequel to the Mario movie so they could make Danny DeVito Wario.
Where is Wa Peach? I don't know, but I think there is an equivalent character in the Wario series, the WarioWare games.
The Mario Brothers.
Doesn't Wario just hangs out with, like, anime women, doesn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there's Mona from the WarioWare games and a bunch of other females.
Cat and Anna.
And strangely, Mona is the only one who's willing to confront him when he basically tells them all, hey, you're not getting paid for any of this. So...
I love these angry, like, footballer cows, by the way. They're awesome.
Yeah,
Wait, are those cows or penguins?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't tell which.
They look more like penguins to me.
What did that switch even do?
Oh, that gets rid of the blocks that were in the wheels.
Oh. I was almost like, man, why did you like turn
They
out the
could be
lights?
cows, but they
Go
could
with
also
the
be
dark
penguins.
world?
I can't tell which. Oh, someone,
giant
the
robot.
giant robot says they are armored penguins. Okay.
And here we have a very angry-looking Hot Topic Goomba.
I seem to remember a friend of mine was having trouble with this boss, and he actually asked me to see if I could beat it, and I can't remember if I could.
It's actually surprisingly difficult for a first boss. I think you need to jump up into his stomach when he's rising into the air.
Otherwise, yeah, you're just gonna...
Yeah, he's a little reminiscent of the Boom Booms from Mario 3.
Okay, that did it.
Yeah.
Dang.
This does make me think that I should really get back to playing Mole Mania, since I actually kind of own it.
Yeah.
That is a really underrated.
I was like, I own the 3DS VC version of it, but, you know, I own it. Kind of wish I owned the actual cartridge so I could play it on a Super Game Boy, but man, that thing is expensive.
Yeah.
Super Game Boy?
The Mole Mania cartridge.
Oh, okay.
I have the Super Game Boy. It's really handy. Space Invaders owns.
You know, I love how expressive Wario sprites are. I mean,
Yeah,
not
I
necessarily but, like, in terms of just, like, his face.
There's something really grotesque about it, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's actually really nice, honestly. Like, you don't see enough aggressive ugliness like that. Which, I mean, to borrow a few words from Snarbo.
Yes, yes. He is kind of an ugly character, and they play off of that fact numerous times.
I kind of like him better for all the fart jokes, though.
No, he needs the fart jokes.
Also, to be honest, he likes garlic, and garlic is very cool as a cooking ingredient.
It is.
And then, well, honestly, I'm happy with the fart jokes, considering the Wario waft actually got buffed in the Smash Bros. 3DS.
How so?
Well, it charges a little faster, and there's actually a very mild effect to it if you use it while running on empty, so to speak. Because in Brawl, it took something like 20 seconds to actually charge up, and by then you were probably dead.
Has anyone in the chat's been anything lately?
No.
Not since the Giant Robot's last report about the Armored Penguins.
Okay. Just make sure I'm not missing anything important.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to say about Wario Land, because it's
a good game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's pretty
93 that's actually quite late for a Game Boy title.
Well, the Game Boy
Not
lasted
really.
like
The Game Boy
98.
lasted until the Game Boy Color, and then
Yeah,
the Game Boy Color died immediately.
There were new Game Boy games being made all the way up until 1998.
Mostly
That's
because
when
there
the
weren't
Color
very
came out.
many other options for.
Actually, even beyond 1998, because we were still getting dual mode games that would work on both.
Yeah.
Such as Grand Theft Auto by Tarantula.
That could not have been a good port.
Are those
not.
Sonic seahorses?
No, I don't think so.
I love how
I
it's
do find this, the cast of enemies in this game is not in any other Mario endeavor.
And
Same
Service
thing
has
with
a
Super Mario Land games, or at least the first one. None of those guys have made it back.
Service is a palindrome for us, but I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. Bob, rats live on no evil star, Bob.
Crap.
The didn't the in the Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy, didn't it have a pig theme for some of the enemies? I can't remember.
Yeah, I want to say the Macro Zone primarily had a lot of pigs as enemies. And then the boss of that world was actually the three little pigs. They even jumped out of their respective houses and rolled
What's
around.
with the Angry Zapdos? Get it?
Yeah, they do look a lot like Zapdos.
This is a Zapdos in very stern-looking Blockland.
I wonder almost if Zapdos came from the same origin. Maybe it was some myth that it's supposed to be a part of. I'm off to Bulbapedia to figure that out.
I love the jet hat. That's a lot of fun. I just love games with air dashes. They're great.
Like Guacamelee.
Well, I love
Can you dash
Guacamelee
up?
too, so...
Guacamelee is a very good game. I still need to beat it.
Oh, I see how this is probably supposed to work. You're supposed to probably get up on top of that wall, and then, yeah. jet your way across.
Oh, so fighting with those mines doesn't instantly hurt you, but if they go
They
off...
do explode, so you have to not be near them.
They have splash damage.
Very little splash damage in this case.
According to Saturn memories, you probably should have played as the other character, Bob, because in Taromaru, because he has an air dash.
Good to know. I'll play it again sometime. It's not
How many characters does that game have? Just 2?
just 2 that I've seen.
Takoyaki for the Sega Saturn. It's about ninjas, but it's not Mystic Warriors.
It's apparently about squid.
Pretty much.
Octopus, whichever. Yeah, those are definitely Zapdos' puzzles.
Well, this
Some
is slightly
kind of-
before Pokemon, so...
Quite a bit, yes, by at least a year or 2.
Pokemon was like 95 or 96, wasn't it?
Well, it was released pretty early in Japan, yeah, probably around 96. If I had to guess 95, 96, and then it took a sweet time to get over here, if I recall. Is he giving us the finger?
Wouldn't be out of character, I don't think.
Captain Pronin Superstars.
We gotta show Weasel that, because I think he'd enjoy that. Being a fan
You
of
know
all
what,
things Russian.
Cal, since you're here, and since it was been brought up, does this get you too? Because, like, the actual character designs are awful, the anatomy, everything is terrible, except the actual animation itself. Like,
yeah, the animation's silk smooth.
Like compared to American '90s cartoons of the era, it is actually incredibly smoothly animated, despite looking like garbage almost.
What thing?
Captain Pronin.
Oh.
Captain
Yeah,
Pronin, for those of us who are not aware, is a Russian cartoon that ran for 4 episodes that we are amused by.
Yeah, the animation is shockingly good, though. It's, like, bizarre.
You know, we should run another animation thing after this, like the last stream.
We could do a SingTube or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Do a group watching of Pronin.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they have, like, enough people, I think, to just do lots of in-betweens, so that's what they could do. They just had no ability to draw it.
Funny thing is, the final episode looks better, but I'd say it's actually not as good.
Well, it's starting to get into a formula.
Yeah, it's a little less zany. Plus, once you go to space, it's kind of hard to go anywhere else.
It's really well animated, though. That's the thing that gets me. It's, like, shockingly well animated, especially compared to contemporary American cartoons. Again, they look a lot better, but they don't move that smoothly. I don't even think I think it's even more than, like, 24 frames a second per animation or something. It's, like, closer to TV, I think. It's, like, 30 frames or something. It's very smooth. It's weird.
Yeah, I have no idea why you mentioned that nowhere. My mic started.
Relevant.
Animation, you know, it's about how many frames you can afford, and, you know, something that looks pretty, you can only afford to really do so many frames of that before it gets too expensive. So,
Right. So,
you know,
was it just made on extremely cheap labor? Is that the only explanation?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just threw enough, people at it.
They were probably just given to an animation farm, if anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything's given to an animation farm, but the,
in country, if I had to guess.
Yeah, like, the fact is, when you give it to an animation farm and you say, well, we can afford, you know, 6 or 8 or 12 or whatever, like, in between frames, between, like, the storyboard poses, it's like, well, okay, then that's how many you get. I think with Captain Pronin, they just inexplicably just drew, like
everything.
Like a lot whenever they needed them. I mean, on a technical level, the animation's not good.
Yeah, it's not just good animation, it's just smooth.
It's just
bizarre.
smooth. Because they spent... It's like, you can redraw, like, frame by frame, just over and over, and you get smooth animation. So, I mean, it's easier when you don't really stay on model, and you also just, it looks like shit to begin with.
Well, this is the thing I've noticed sometimes with European animations, or at least from certain countries, is that they're very well animated, but again, it's not good animation, and then it looks really ugly and bad.
Yeah.
Worker and Parasite.
Well, okay, not Worker and Parasite, but like, as much shit as the CDI Zelda games get, particularly their cutscenes, they're actually well animated. Like, it's ugly, they have poor proportions, they shift and warp around in grotesque ways, but it's smooth.
Yeah, for its time, it was technically fresh, but it didn't have much of a competition for the technology at the time in games.
Well, again, that was another case of a Russian animation farm. Like, this guy just happened to round them up because they were cheap enough. It was weird, like the whole backstory to how CDI Zelda happened. It was just like, yeah, we got the license from Nintendo, I found some cheap Russian animators to do it, and there you go. That's almost literally the story for that.
That pretty much is the story, isn't
how
it?
you do it. I mean, you can afford to get lots of people who basically don't know how to draw to make your frames, but then you end up with the PC like style animation, which is just garbage. But I don't know. I mean, I think people, they're just too used to the way like Disney or whatever looks. Like, that's just the only style they readily accept.
Right, because it's the most familiar, it's mass marketed, it's appealing to some degree.
Yeah.
It's what people kind of come to accept as the accepted style.
Well, they kind of, they did the
subliminal
first
adult messages
animated film, so.
I mean, if you think about it, you've got like the kind of it's infamous that you have the intro to TV cartoons is often animated much more superiorly to the actual show itself because they budgeted, an entire
Mega Man.
Yeah, like they put like an entire budget of an episode into just the intro to make sure that it attracted people.
It doesn't matter. We've only got 10 seconds left.
You missed.
So they that's how they do it. So if you budgeted that much, you could have made an episode of the show with that quality of animation. It would just have cost.
And that's the game.
But that's still that. It was just something that really surprises me. There was also the case with we were watching Phantodrums. It was kind of the same case where it was very hard to look at because it's kind of ugly and poorly animated, but it's also incredibly smooth animation. So there's this bizarre disconnect.
Also, Vegas.
Vegas.
I actually did look that up. That is how you pronounce it.
What does it mean?
Vegas.
End or?
Yeah, it just means the end or end.
Vegas.
The end.
Hot heck.
Can we say Vegas at the end of our things, like, from now on?
I wish.
Just Vegas.
Vegas.
Everyone Vegas. We'd
have to add the subtitle in Sony Vegas.
Womp womp.
And we're back to the Saturn again.
Like,
Oh boy.
with the thing with Phantodrums, again, that was another thing where the animation quality varies so much between episodes. Like, you can see, like, I don't know if they just had different people working on it, on the frames on, like, those alternate days or whatever.
Hey, is this Guardian Heroes?
It is. I'm afraid I forgot who requested this.
That guy kind of looks like a dopier Rance.
On
this subject, this is something that's always gotten me about anime, and it baffles me how anime became popular, given that what'll happen is they'll usually spend like an entire season's budget on like the first and last episodes, and then the rest of it is just filler. Like really badly animated off model filler.
That guy is quite the chin.
That's still true today too, I should note.
I blame Evangelion for everything.
Well, Evangelion was especially a bad case of like budget run out. They literally ran out of budget. Had to use like what? They had to use raw storyboards.
I swear that there was a scene in a very late episode of that series where approximately 5 to 10 minutes of dialogue takes place over one still frame.
What show is this?
Evangelion. like
The original, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Another,
the reason why they decided to declare the ending was non-canon and then made a movie to replace it.
I know another earlier Gainax production almost started having some really bad budget issues towards the end, like to the point where the final episode is straight up black and white the whole time.
Also, I'd like
Well,
to
with Evangelion, there were later episodes that were just long pans over environments with people talking for like 5 minutes straight.
Was the series in question Nadia, the Secret of Blue Water, by chance?
Not quite.
Because that one's supposed to have a lot of budgetary issues. Like, TV Tropes likes to call it the Island Arc, because they had to filler for some reason, because I guess their script writer had quit on them before the series had finished being written.
Here's something I heard about Evangelion. I forget how true this is, but the really violent episode where Ava 1 tears open that other Ava and it's all bloody and gory.
Timer starts now.
Apparently, the network running Evangelion at the time had really strictly asked them not to do that, but they went ahead with it anyway, and they basically just, as a result, in retaliation, they killed any remaining budget they had left, and that was a pretty small pool already. So
I am somewhat familiar with this game. It's pretty good. I mean, I have never owned a Saturn, so I kind of miss a lot of it, but I kind of like this game.
This is actually a really good game. I would argue one of the better Saturn games, even if it looks really low budget at times.
Oh, it is a real darn funny and overall a good deal of replay value.
Who did the art designs of most of Treasure's games of the era? Because it's very pervasive style. Like all of their games up until I don't know when, maybe even Stretch Panic had this sort of character design.
I'm noticing that the in-game characters look pretty nice, but the actual higher quality artwork looks kind of weird.
The portraits all look really off-model at the best of times. The Exploit remake fixes a lot of it, but the portraits still look kind of weird.
I would have thought that the portraits would be deliberate. You're not talking about an incompetent team here.
And also, since you're playing as Han, you're probably going to be the most survivable right now. He's basically the tank character.
Pretty much.
That you really don't want to try playing as what's her name, the cleric, unless you have another player to back you up.
Her hits are balanced.
She doesn't have much for hit points or damage, even if you're spending your experience.
Honestly, Genjiro the ninja is my favorite, because he has this one, like, thunder palm attack which you can keep doing, and it shoots out this, like, jet of electricity that hits you.
Okay, Bob, according to Saturn Memories, you want to put the Golden Warrior on passive.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have it yet, so...
Yeah, but when you do, so I guess the implication there.
Basically, do not waste his super moves, because you only have a certain amount of them through the entire game.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Like after a while, you can keep ordering him to use them, but all he'll do is acknowledge the command and then continue fighting as normal.
But yeah, this is something I really like about this era of Treasure here, is that they have a really weird sort of animated style to a lot of their games. It's not necessarily strictly anime, but I mean, you have this, you have Silhouette Mirage, you have, Mischief Makers, Bangai-O,
And Stretch Panic!
Bangai-O is a really interesting example because the version we know for Dreamcast wasn't the original, because it was a Nintendo 64 game at first. It's just really, really, really weird, and yet the N64 version is just as playable. You just
according to Saturn Memories, the Golden Warrior does have infinite super moves that are just on a count or on a timer, not counter.
Oh, so it's a cooldown, or?
Well, they sure don't do a very obvious job of telling you about that.
Yeah, Treasure games are a lot like that. They're kind of like the Retro and Platinum games. They have a lot of systems that aren't really very obvious at first.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I actually paid the full $10 for the XBLA version of this, and some of the best money I've spent.
Isn't the XBLA version slightly different though? Like they changed some things.
They still let you play the Saturn version, but they fixed up the controls a little bit and made them a little bit more logical.
Yeah.
And then, like, especially where jumping is concerned. 'Cause right here, I want to say it's like in the Saturn version, you hit up to jump, and then you have to hit buttons to switch layers. But the Xbox version has an option where you hit the button to jump, and then up and down switch layers. So it's more like a traditional.
Yeah.
That's a lot nicer. Okay, this is one of those hopeless boss fights. We just gotta hit him until stuff happens.
Basically, don't die.
Hey, it's a E103 game mode.
Well, actually, you can die and continue, but again, be careful about your continues.
Oh, it's that sort of fake boss fight where you still have to...
I hate to be a crankshaft, but can I denote the one thing about this game I'm not fond of?
What's up?
Unskippable cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind as much if there wasn't this one really egregious part midway in where the ostensible bad guy, Ganon, takes like a fucking 5 minutes to explain some backstory that's just... what?
This has tie-ins with Gunstar Heroes, doesn't it? I know it has gold and silver in it.
Mm-hmm. He is one of the final bosses. But I'm not sure if there's any official link. It's just the thing that companies did at the time to sort of connect all of them to each other. It didn't really make much sense.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys something that's gonna make you hate me. I played Advanced Guardian Heroes before I played this game. I owned Advanced Guardian Heroes, I never owned this game.
Can't really hate you for that. It's just...
And it was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it, just it obviously wasn't as good.
Advanced Guardian Heroes. That is a game that that had a really awful translation.
Oh, it was horrendous. I mean, I don't know how you translate a game from 2000 that has a translation that bad. It just shouldn't happen. We're talking like any early NES level translation
I think
here.
it's worse than some early NES games. It's almost incomprehensible.
Oh, another thing the XBLA version does is they...
Weasel?
Hello?
Uh-oh.
Test 1, test 2.
Scripts, though, come to think of it.
You got
cut out for a split second.
Yeah, repeat what you said.
Shoot. I was wondering why nobody was talking. No, but the XBLA version of Guardian Heroes polishes up the script quite a lot.
Well, even
we're
this
talking
game
about
has
Advanced Guardian Heroes, I think.
Well, even this game has a way better translation than Advanced ever has at any point.
So is Vance like a title breed, or...?
Just about.
Advanced Guardian Heroes is pretty much not even in the same genre as this. It's more of a... It's a hideously complicated 2D platformer that just happens to have punching and kicking and stuff in it. And then a bunch of really bizarre controls for lock-on jumping, I think. And then... yeah.
And Gunstar Superheroes were back then
Gunstar Superheroes was okay. The problem is the bosses had too little health. You couldn't, like, some of them you could kill so fast you never even saw any of their patterns, ever. Like, the final boss is like that. He doesn't do anything. You just hit him a couple times and he's dead. Pretty much.
So I don't know what pattern the warrior is on right now.
One of the buttons, I want to say it's one of either X, Y, or Z is the command button, and you'll have your...
I'm assuming this is passive. I just picked.
The one where he's standing behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be the one.
You want passive so you can get the most EXP gains according to Saturn memories. Because otherwise he'll do it for you, I assume.
Basically, if he fist pumps and grunts at whatever's in front of him, then that means he heard the order.
So, do you need to worry about keeping the Golden Warrior healthy at all or anything?
No,
Yep.
He's already dead, so he doesn't really need to worry about that.
He's basically like a free co-op partner.
Ah, nice. So you don't really need to worry too much about him, but if you're in a pinch, he might not necessarily save you, depending on what the game-eyes ones are.
I found that having him on the offensive was useful when I was trying to solo this as Randy.
Something to note.
Nothing could knock me out of the spell charges.
Something to note about this game: there is actually a clone of this game, or of this style of game, in any case, on the PlayStation called Panzer Bandits, which is also pretty good. It's not as good, I don't think.
That is not right.
It has a cigar smoking room.
Yeah, I know. Like the style is very
not
like
quite as
60s,
as
70s manga. It's pretty cool.
that's I would argue. It just doesn't seem to have as much to it.
Yeah, Panzer
But-
Bandits is pretty fun.
I'll need to go get a copy of it again.
I love the juggle combos in this game.
It didn't
They're
run
all
really
fun.
well on whatever emulator I was playing with at the time, so that'll be something to fix. That'll be something to look into the next time I try Panzer Bandits. I like that guy banging on the barrier. Let us out, no. Let me out.
Nice, very nice attention to detail with all the sprites. It's like, I don't want to say Saturday morning cartoon animation because it's better than that.
It depends. It's still,
What am I
it's still it's kind of choppy, but
It's interesting as a Japanese game they went with black outlines.
yeah, no. They did the same thing, I think, with Soulhoof Mirage, if I recall. I have to look that up real quick, though. You lost. Try again.
Yeah, I don't even know how I died that time. This game gets kind of hard to follow at times.
Yeah.
And I'm almost dead again.
Oh, there's no screenshots for this game on Moby Games. I might have to dig out my copy of it and actually take screenshots in an emulator.
Of Panzer Bandit or
No, of Soulhoof Mirage. I actually own a full copy of that manual and everything. Got it for about $20. I don't know how much it goes for nowadays. I also have Thunder Force 5 as well. Full copy of that as well. Billions, yeah, I wish. Oh, okay. So according to Saturn Memories, he says you can also just put them on active too if you're not very experienced with this game.
What
You need
icon
his
is
help.
that?
What'd you say? Probably the icon where he's in front of you.
probably.
Again, I like the designs in this game. They're very 90s anime, but they're taken to such a ridiculous extreme and degree. It's very stylized, especially in terms of proportions, which you never really generally see in a lot of anime. Usually it's like they have these stylized faces and then hyper-realistic bodies, and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. It's a pretty interesting effect, honestly.
I know agility is good because it really makes your attacks faster, so that could be really useful. I read a bit of FAQ in this game the other day.
So is this one of those games where you have two attacks and then you can chain them any way you want to?
Yeah, you have weak and strong.
Was this one of the first games to do that? Like, this predates Devil May Cry, and it's got sort of a similar juggle combo sort of system as I understand it.
Oh, there are separate buttons for punching.
That's true. Same thing with Double Dragon. Double Dragon would possibly count. There's Gaia Crusaders as well, which came out after this did. Okay, according to Saturn Memories, Bobinator, there is a hidden area in this forest towards the end of it. It'll be near a sign, and it's on the backmost plane, so closer to the trees, I guess.
Okay.
Closer to the screen. So look out for a sign.
I actually do enjoy this game, though. Great
This is a very nice looking forest.
It'd be great to do
sorry.
multiplayer with if Saturn Emulation was actually at that point you could do online multiplayer, which is very much
Well, it'd
not.
be even better if Treasure would release some of their other games on Steam. I'm not sure how well Ikaruga did, because they haven't ported anything else yet. I'm assuming it did average.
Stretch Panic.
I don't know, Ikaruga's been on a lot of things, so I don't know if it's a good example.
That's true. Oh, he's killing the plane.
I just don't get why they put all their stuff on XBLA and at least PSN.
Probably the fat Microsoft money.
How's
But
that
Microsoft
F? Is that FAT or PHAT?
whichever one you prefer.
Even.
Whichever one accentuates the point I am attempting to make here. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it was easier for them to port it and program it on the Xbox. I'm not entirely sure why certain Japanese devs chose that system, particularly for shmups. I think it was Sony had some sort of mentality similar to the mentality they had in the PlayStation 1 era, where they didn't want certain kinds of games on the system.
Yeah, it could very well be they just didn't think that they'd
sell
it well.
Now that's quite a surprise.
Or their weird thing where they wouldn't allow straight ports of things without new content.
Right.
What?
They had that. Seriously? Yeah, that's something that Sony and I think even Microsoft had that clause. Is that if you port something to our system, it has to have new content, which explains the Xeno Clash port and why it's never been backported. Besides the fact that they moved to a new engine or version of the source engine, so it would be hard to back compat.
And that things like in the original Xbox generation, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X, which is basically 2 with some of the enhancements from 3 and a couple of new levels. And
I think there were a few...
Wait, you missed it. There was a sign.
Sorry.
There was a few new characters too, weren't there?
I didn't see the sign.
Game over, yeah.
I would think, yeah.
Like
the sign was kind of hard to see. It just pops up and then it's the end of the stage.
You saw the sign. You wrote it.
Hey, look, we can do sprite scaling.
Well, this is what the system was built for. It was built on quads instead of triangles, which
Yeah,
is really good for sprites. It's also really good for other things, though, too. Like
Yeah.
planes and surfaces.
And for a fantasy game, this uses a lot of saxophones. Just saying.
For a 2D, for 2D, the system kind of does the Neo Geo in some ways, doesn't
I
it?
can't tell if that thing on its bottom is supposed to be a belly button or just an anus, because it's kind of weird looking.
I always love when these take boss sprites and just make them tiny and upscale them with their Rock and Rage, because it looks so cheap. But then again,
it does.
maybe they just didn't have that. Maybe they didn't have the RAM or something. I don't know. They're working with the CD. There was enough room for the tiles, but is that a very tiny Pikachu?
That was a Pikachu.
And she looks more like the cheat, actually. I think it's the cheat.
Rather a lot like Randy. He has a little pet rodent as well.
Now, I'm thinking a Carbuncle from Puyo Puyo. A little more obscure, but...
Yeah.
Will you stop?
Oh, he says, Saturn memory says it's a rabbit.
Fun fact, Randy's pet hamster is named Edward.
Oh no, we have to fight this asshole. And we
Is
don't
that a
even know.
reference to Cliffhanger?
Yes, it is.
Edward Randy, the cliffhanger.
I can't remember if it was that the people at Treasure used to work for Data East, or if they were just really big fans of Data East.
Well, something like Boogie Wings. Something kind of like what Treasure would be, maybe.
Well, Treasure said they were inspired by Data East games, I think, at some point. I mean, if you play some of Data East games, they're clearly very similar to Treasure's games, especially in terms of,
Well, Data East games have a lot of bosses in them.
They do, and they also have a similar focus on set pieces, particularly, Edward Randy, the cliffhanger.
Yes.
Not to mention, there's a lot of scenes in Edward Randy that were more or less replicated directly in Gunstar Heroes, like the fight on the biplane wings.
Yeah, that was like the final boss fight, I think, in Edward Randy. Among other things, like you had the bit where you were being chased by that giant truck, where you're riding in the car. A lot of cool, crazy crap in that game. Boogie Wings is sort of a similar mentality applied to a shmup. Then you also have, Spin Masters. That's actually pretty good. That's a very quick, fast-paced little game. It's very similar to Midnight Wanderers. Except not quite as good, but...
Hey, these characters are from Turrican.
What do you mean?
Megaturk and the big with the really long faces and the huge.
Oh yeah, you mean the inexplicable anime cutscene at the
Brand requires
Hey,
Lantern
you're-
Jaw of Justice.
This is something I like about the style of these games, though. It's a very stylized take on the '90s anime style, like super stylized. Like,
Yeah,
you never see that in Japanese. Like, well, actually, you do see it every now and again. What am I saying? But usually they go with the whole doll look to most of the characters.
yeah. Well, I mean, it depends what they're trying to sell the game on. I think a lot of games that go with an anime style just go, well, we're gonna sell like toys and stuff with the characters, so make them cute and sexy.
Well, like I mean, like they'll stylize certain features of like the characters, like their faces, and then they'll have like realistic bodies, and the backgrounds will be very hyper realistic. Like this is interesting here. Like this game does this. The backgrounds are very realistic.
Yeah, I think the backgrounds are a little jarring compared to the characters.
Right. And that's
Yeah,
a
it's
problem that
kinda-
anime has as well, is that you have these very hyper-realistic rendered backgrounds. Now, to be fair, a lot of animated films have done that. Like, a lot of Disney films did that, too.
It's actually become something of a gag nowadays in modern anime that the characters are really the characters are really simply shaded and black outlined, and anything animated other than the characters is like that as well, and then anything that's static through the scene is painted.
Yeah.
I don't even know what series it was that they were lampooning that, saying something like, "Don't stand on that cliff face. Look at the shading on it. It's going to collapse."
It's an animation style, yeah.
And then he goes and stands on another one that's painted in, and then it collapses, and he's like, "Wow, this must have been a really expensive scene."
Now, Cerebus is saying they probably went with the more detailed backgrounds over the simplistic characters. Or, you know, in comparison to the simplistic-looking characters, just so that there's more contrast so you can see what's going on. Which makes sense. A lot of fighting games do sort of the same thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it would probably be less noticeable on like a proper cathode ray TV, yeah, because there's a lot of very deliberate, like blurring and anti-aliasizing style in the backgrounds.
Yeah, they're using a lot of dithering, which was pretty much the only way you could do any sort of transparency or sort of effect on the Saturn.
I love the sword dive because they just do it again and again.
You mean like totally not reptile spam kicking Sonya? Oh man, mirth.
I forget, did we watch an episode of the Mortal Kombat cartoon during the Crazy Cartoon Carnival?
I think we watched two.
And I'm pretty sure we definitely saw the one that had Quan Chi in it, and the one where everybody's fighting with each other except Nightwolf.
That was Quan Chi. That was the Quan Chi.
They give Nightwolf so much shit, and I don't know why. They just hate Nightwolf.
He doesn't get to do anything half the time either. It's weird.
How did I think that those were two separate episodes? Did I just not pay attention?
The one with Goro's made up brother or whatever.
No, that was the other one. The Legend Begins or whatever.
Okay, according to Saturn Memories, the Saturn can handle transparencies. It's just very difficult. And the example he cited was Burning Rangers and Sonic R.
Yeah, I imagine that took up a lot of GPU time. Well, CPU time because.
Final practice transparent.
Yeah, I mean that's. Judging from the fact that it's a Sega game, I don't know if anyone else would have even bothered, because the Saturn's pretty infamous for lacking a lot of... Well, they don't have built-in transparencies.
They had to figure out how to do it using the CPUs that all have to remain in perfect synchronization with each other, and admittedly aren't all that powerful on their own, so they have to figure out how to make them work together.
Apparently that was a very common thing with a lot of Japanese consoles, though the TurboGrafx also had a bevy of processors in it, and so does the SNES. That has a bunch of special chips. Some of it are outside the cart or outside the system.
The TurboGrafx to this day remains a topic of much argument in certain retro communities over whether it belongs in the NES generation or the SNES generation, because it was marketed as being 16-bit, and the graphics processing is 16-bit. But the main CPU is just a faster version of the one that powers the NES.
I thought there was like two processors, like two 8-bit processors in the system or something weird, and that's how they got the 16-bit. But yeah, it's basically a souped-up version of the Z80 or whatever it is.
The 6502.
Yeah, 6502, sorry, not Z80.
Yeah.
The Z80 was another contemporary, and I was using the Game Boy and stuff.
Yeah.
Specifications.
Is it a layer? It must be some sort of like weird transparency cheat they're using for like a mid-processing thing.
Hey, wait a second. There was a transparency effect right there. If you notice on the fireball or whatever that dude teleported out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it a transparency effect?
It was on a sprite, so it looked partially transparent.
Well, it went by so fast.
My guess is I don't know, I have to check for sure. I think maybe the transparencies have problems interacting with, like, between different objects, or overlaying them, maybe?
So it's like Z-fighting or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to work it out, because, I mean...
I like those people walking into the barrel. Well, we gotta get out of here, but I can't move this barrel.
It's like, there's stuff in Burning Ranges where they could have used transparency and they didn't. It's like, obviously only the fire has transparency, and there's a graphic overlay in the game which has transparency. But I'm thinking possibly you couldn't run it in certain situations. You can only do it a very particular way.
Yeah. Sure.
It's very odd, because there are ways you can. Obviously, there's one way you can fake transparency, which is where you just do it like a palette overlay technique, where like you overlay a color and then you just interpret between the two colors that are on screen, so it looks like it's transparent, but it's just blending the two colors
sort of
in real time.
I know a lot of old DOS games tried to expedite that sort of thing by having a pre-calculated table of transparencies.
The Heretic probably did that, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Heretic, Hexen, and Strife all have transmap tables like that.
Doom have that, or...?
Doom did not even have support for that.
It had color maps. You know the lighting in Doom? Actually, is not dynamic at all. It's actually pre-calculated color maps. Like, they calculate how the palette's supposed to look at different lighting levels.
Yeah, different brightness levels.
Yeah, it's a color ramp is what it is.
Which explains why there's WAD files out there like palplus.wad that actually improve the way the color map ramps down. Because in vanilla Doom, the pinky demons will actually appear sort of grayish in dark rooms because the color map just doesn't map pink very well in the dark. Pal Plus fixes that by actually smoothly ramping down the pink table to red.
Yeah. There's also stuff that someone actually reversed the color ramps, and it's really bizarre. It makes the whole game seem oddly illuminated.
I remember back in like 1995 when my brother and I discovered that Rise of the Triad had huntbegins.wad included. So we tried loading it in Doom to see what would happen, and the only lump it was able to process was color map.
Oh god, what did that do?
Made things look pretty hideous.
Fruity Fruity?
Yeah, it was like half of it still looked okay, but dark rooms in particular looked really wrong. Like, I want to say the status bar still looked okay.
That is some huge armor that guy's wearing.
Yeah, it's typical of, again, of 90s anime.
Yeah.
Rather that than most modern anime, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, my main concern is that it's in carbon break.
Yeah, I think there are some sort of like transparency effects going on with some of the special effects that are just hard to see.
Mm-hmm. Like Meltdown had your chest plates, make yourself some graves too. Like, you could be wearing a tank on your chest and it wouldn't do anything when they just slice your kneecaps off or whatever. But, overthinking it.
Seeing these pauldrons and stuff in these ridiculous armor reminds me of this game that was in development that I used to follow, or I didn't follow it on Mod Database. I just remember seeing it, and it was, like, ridiculous. Let me dig it up. Because it's got, like, some of the most egregious knee pads I've ever seen. Like,
was this like a Rob Liefeld thing going on?
It's beyond Rob Liefeld. It's getting to the point, it's like, was this serious? Let me look it up. I kind of vaguely remember the name.
Egregious knee pads.
Right, Trudy's Mechanicals. This game you were trying to view has ceased development. Yeah, they didn't get very far. They just had concept designs. And after you see this guy's knee pad, you'll understand why.
What kind of game was this now?
It was probably a strategy game, if I recall correctly. Okay, I'm going to link this in the call. And I'm also going to link it on the stream chats for those. You'll have to cut and paste that. Apparently it does not support hot linking, so...
Wait a minute, I think I've seen this.
So is this guy wearing half? This is some Warhammer stuff right here.
Yeah, except it's like he's only wearing like the bottom half of like a Terminator armor or something, or just the knee caps.
This is like Rob Liefeld injected with some cyborg clock.
Time's up. Good timing.
Yeah.
Like the
right as I said, clock.
Too insane. I like how the proportioning of the figure isn't too insane, but they just went ridiculous on the armor.
Alright, we got one more game.
I don't know what the point of the armor is supposed to be. Like, is he supposed to duck and cover behind his own knees? Is he just supposed to, like, turtle up or something? I don't get it.
He's really afraid he'll get shot in the leg with a tracer.
The Bruiser. It's weird, though. You would expect, like, okay, if you swapped, like, his knee pads with his arm pads, that would have made more sense to me. Because is he going to power people? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This is Mech Fight, and I'm afraid I forgot who requested this as well. I would have to check the thread.
Wow,
I apologize.
That naked robot doing a little sassy dance, that asshole.
This is the truly great NES fighting game.
Yep. I can't believe that robot is that naked.
Yeah, look how sassy he is, too. He's like he's like a very belligerent Rayman.
So this is like one of maybe two Street Fighter-esque fighting games that came out in the NES.
And the other one was Kart Fighter, right?
Hey, what about...
it was Teenage Ninja Turtles Turn Fighters.
What about Urban Champion, or whatever that game was? Is that what it was called?
That was pre-Street Fighter 2.
There's a few more fighters on there. They're just no good.
But they're mostly pirates.
Was it ER Kung Fu on this system?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it got a port.
Yeah, the MSX version was... Well, and then there's, as mentioned before, Kart Fighter, Tekken 2, probably some sort of Mortal Kombat.
Like I said, Urban Champion. They need to bring Urban Champion back for the next Smash.
Maybe
it needs to be like the final
Thanks for the tips.
Oh, well.
That is a serious
mistake. Oh, yeah. Take care, Saturn. It's been awesome having you on.
It was good having you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, see you, man. So here's something interesting. Looking at the cover art, like, you know that whole pixel, like that retro art pixel craze? That's been huge for like ever now. Well, look at this Urban Champion box. Like a lot of early NES boxes were like this. It's kind of interesting. Like they actually highly emphasize the fact that it's pixelated. The game actually doesn't look like that, as I understand it. Though I don't think.
Yeah, that's actually better than the game looks.
Right, it's way better. It looks closer to like Atari 7800.
They were probably given like a photograph of the TV screen and told, okay, replicate this to make a box design.
Yeah, the actual sprites have like more blues and greens. They're in kind of this style similar to what they use in like Punch Out or Arm Wrestling.
I'm not
this
sure
sort of style is interesting because it makes you think that, like, in your head, this is how the game looks, even though it's not going to be this high detail.
Yes. Again, it looks very close to an Atari 7800 game or something.
Yeah, it definitely has more of an Atari look. I think it might just be the color choice, too.
Yeah, the colors are very, soft. Oh, hey, this has a Darkstalker-style down system, kinda.
I actually like those. It makes the game feel faster.
And then you recover a little health for knocking someone down.
So I don't know if this has special moves. It probably does, but I don't know any of them.
It does, but you don't have any of them unlocked yet.
Yeah, you're just
in the story mode. The story mode for this, lets you earn the moves of your opponents when you beat them. So when you beat this guy whose name I forget, you'll get access to a fireball attack.
So which character are you? Oh wait, you're the naked guy.
He's the naked guy.
His name is Sukapan, I believe.
I'm surprised this guy won in Smash. Wasn't this a first-party game?
I want to say he got a trophy in Brawl, at least.
They should have him as a playable character, though. His ability should just be that he's naked.
Like, in terms, it doesn't matter if he's first party though. They've introduced plenty of second or third party games at this point, and this is a pretty
Duck Hunt Dog. I don't know what's stopping this. Sorry, Cal. Go ahead.
Well, people have been asking for Duck Hunt Dog for a while, I think, and it just was time. Yeah, they have.
But he's just famous. Like that's it. Like he's a famous NES character.
I've got some information regarding Brawl. Turns out the robot Sukapone shows up as one of the many stickers. Also, a sample of the music shows up in the Famicom medley.
But I mean, the Duck Hunt Dog character is actually really cool. Like they put a really interesting character together.
It's actually a lot more interesting of a character than the one that was in that fan game. Honestly, I love the way the Hogan's Alley can basically acts as a remote attack that you can trigger whenever, and the Hogan's Alley Gunners and the
is there a translation of Joy Mech Fight?
There is, actually.
Yeah,
I should have used that. I apologize.
Hello, I am not Dr. Robotnik.
I'm gonna keep going with the naked guy. I like naked robot.
Well, why would you pick a different robot?
Because
although, if you don't pick Fire Guy, do you not get abilities? Do you still have to just keep Naked Guy?
I want to say Scupon can actually, you can somehow equip, like, one move from another robot in addition to his default throw special. I can't remember exactly how that works. It's been
a little bit of parallax going on there. That is some excellent work.
Yeah, it's really
this
nice.
game's
It's like
animation style.
Yeah, the way they had to do parallax is they actually had to move the entire background tile layer.
Yes.
They couldn't do layered stuff like a trees. You can't have trees that blend into other trees or whatever. Not exactly,
no, it's
anyway.
Just the background,
this guy's a dive
layer.
Cool.
Dive kick.
Honestly, it seems like they got some pretty good mileage out of the NES's hardware, especially late in the lifespan.
I really love this animation style. I mean, it's smooth.
Yeah.
It generally works.
It's cool and it's pretty ingenious, because you know they wouldn't have had the tile memory or the RAM.
It's kind of like Balls if it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Bob, I mean, like, Balls is really a more technically advanced, better version of this game.
Wait. Balls in what sense?
Balls in the sense of Balls 3D.
Balls 3D, the greatest fighting game available on the Sega Mega Drive.
Objection!
Nintendo Entertainment System.
Cal.
Cal, you forgot Shaq Fu.
Dude,
are you saying Balls is better than Shaq Fu, Cal?
Oh, well, obviously. It's also available on the 3DO, which you can't get Shaq Fu on the 3DO, so...
I forget, though, Cal, did we ever figure out how to play as the boss characters in Balls? Like, were there passwords for that or something?
You can play them... I think you can play them on the SNES version, and I think in the 3DO version you can play as them.
Probably the Genesis version, too, somehow.
The 3DO version, I think I can understand that, because that's supposed to be the director's cut version.
It technically has one more character.
The zombie, which was never finished in the other versions.
Yeah, which is not finished in the other ones. That's,
Yeah, I think Cal streamed that for some... Was it just for me, or was I the one there, the only person there watching you play through the entire game?
I think eventually everyone quit because they couldn't take it, but we stuck it out. We stuck out so many balls.
Well, there's a lot of... Okay, here's the problem I have with the game. The bosses are way more interesting than any of the actual playable characters. Like, you've got an ostrich, you've got, I think, a kangaroo or something, a T-Rex.
Yeah, you got an ostrich,
okay, I just did a special. I don't know how I did it.
The genie who has, like, 3 different forms, which are all kind of... It's like a bull, I think a scorpion, and is like Dinjin Genie mode.
Yeah.
And then you have the cool Jester guy. Yeah, and you can't play as any of them by default.
You have to unlock them by going through the game as, like, however many times. Like, once you beat it as, like, any given character, you start the game again as the ostrich. I forget if it gives you a password to play as the ostrich or whatever next time. Very interesting game, that, and the people who made that would later go on to make the Pets series, starring cats and/or dogs.
And they made like 6 or 7 of those.
Mm-hmm. And then Ubisoft bought them out, and now we have Babies.
Imagine Babies, a better game than God Hand.
There are so
You know
many
what's sad, though, is that
babies.
they didn't use the balls tech for the babies, so they all look like giant angry spheroid monstrosities.
Yeah, the damn Cecily.
What happened with PF Magic? What all happened here?
I just want a sequel to Oddballs. That's all I've ever wanted.
Oh man, they also made Petanque for the 3DO, the world's only first-person pinball game.
Petanque.
Well,
Make a
at
new
least
character
it's,
this time.
you know, unique.
I'll play as this Muay Thai robot, whatever his name is.
I still like Naked Robot the best because he's so naked and sassy.
And Tank.
Apparently, his backstory explains he was originally supposed to be a comedian. How he became a fighter.
Okay.
But these are giant robots, or at least large robots, and he's a comedian?
You know, it's
The
like
joke,
humor.
the joke is that he's naked and sassy. There you go.
I mean,
There's a
then,
lot of
then
humor
he
off
is
of that.
completely intended to be naked if he's a comedian, because that's like...
He's humor bot.
Because naked people are funny.
Okay,
well,
so
that is absolutely Japanese humor. Would just be like, this guy's naked, that's the joke. That's his entire shtick.
It's like that guy in the red parka who did an entire music video of him just randomly having his clothes explode off him in public places.
So it looks like I have this. Looks like Special was like a direction and button. So I have
this is a pretty broken ass character so far, though. I mean, you were just dash kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah, I
until
do that by
we started
back
listening.
and B, only it doesn't work all the time. I don't know how it works.
There might be a hidden meter or something.
I don't think it's a meter. I want to say that there is actually a method to the madness, but I can't remember
Wait.
how exactly.
Okay, it's a charge motion, okay.
So it's an actual standard fighting game motion. Weird. Very weird for a Nintendo game.
I need to look at the move list of this or something.
They need to make a sequel to this, though.
I mean, if it's weird controls, they're also robots. Robot fighting games always have weird controls to them.
You ever play, what was it, Schmeiser Robo? Anybody on this call?
That one had like an upside down robot in it.
Yeah, Dolly, and he was actually an upside-down version of Salvador Dali in a mech.
Oh, that's cool.
How...
You know, this explains everything. I've just found something out. PF Magic, the people behind Balls and the Cats and Dogs series,
And Oddballs.
their first 2 games were for the CDI. In
Oh.
1992, there was a strategy game called Third Degree. And in 1994, Max Magic, which was apparently for education.
You know, I gotta ask, how does this one compare to a certain MS-DOS-based mech-centric fighting games?
It's
Not
probably
enough
as
jet
good
shooting
as,
people.
not as good as One Must Fall.
Yeah, One Must Fall actually had a pretty awesome tournament mode, which I liked a lot.
Had an anti-infinite system, which apparently was the inspiration.
Online play
The
in
anti-infinite system-
1994.
Right.
I'm just saying.
But the anti-infinite system in that game actually inspired the one in Skullgirls, apparently. And it even follows very similar rules. The idea is that you don't use the same move more than once in a combo. Of course, there's more to it than that. There's some other stuff going on behind the scenes in Skullgirls.
Also, online play in 1994 is a pretty big deal for a fighting game.
Mhm.
And it kept up pretty well in the latency, even with the limitations you'd see with the network of the era, or...
How about that X-Band?
How about that Bloodstorm?
Buy Bone Storm or go to hell.
Odamore.
I know that's not the actual name, it's Weapon Lord, but it just blows my mind how ridiculously complicated. Hey, wait a minute, this game has the Galaxy Fight style, you can't be cornered system.
They put so much effort in weapon lore, but it's just so hard to learn. I'd love to learn how to play it, but...
That was the point, really.
It's like a 2D Soul Calibur, only you can even more convoluted.
But yeah, this game does the same thing Galaxy Fight does. There is no way to be cornered. You can just keep going back.
Which is annoying, because it means that the other guy can just run away from you forever, like he always likes to do here.
Yeah.
Well, it forces you to engage the enemy. At least that was the idea.
Well, I mean, the problem is, it means that you can retreat until you get into an advantage situation.
Yeah. On the other hand, I tend to approach the way I approach fighting games means that I kind of have to corner enemies and just tear them as long as possible, otherwise I'll never get anywhere, which I can't really do that here, so...
Now, with those signs in the background, they say Yoshi, Mario, live or live? Because I think it means that they died, and that this is an underground, like, fight. And
it could say line, though. If you look at it, it almost looks like it might be saying line.
That's definitely saying live. It's an optical illusion.
I see a V. I see a V.
I've got a question about Galaxy Fight. What the hell's with G done anyway?
Best character in any fighting game. He's an intergalactic rapper.
Amnesiac, apparently.
An amnesiac intergalactic rapper, and he also has some of the weirdest fucking moves in any fighting game. Like, I think one just sends him flying up really high in the air, and then he lands on his head or something, and it doesn't do anything.
I was like the Lizardman in Gunter. Like, that's such a un-Lizardman name.
Gunter.
Reminds me of like Gunter.
You know, the biggest problem with that game is that the controls aren't responsive. Like, that's my only problem with Galaxy Fight.
Waku Waku 7's way better.
Well, Waku Waku 7 also has slightly stiff controls, having come back to that one. It's a good game, though.
I miss Meme Hub, by the way.
Yeah, it's still working?
No, it's still working as far as I know. It's just updates way too frequently.
How about that feature creep?
We should get a 4-person Mystic Warriors game going at some point, too.
We did that once, actually. I think before you joined, Argent.
We should do that again, though. I'd be fun with
Yeah, we should do that again.
Skull captured your friend.
This game is, it's 1993, right? So it's quite a late release.
Which probably explains why we never got it.
But yeah, there was also a Teenage Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters 93. That is
does this one, does this use any custom anything, or is this something that could have been handled earlier on in the game?
It might use a custom chip, but you'd have to look it up, though.
Because you'd think...
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, you'd think with the, like, amount of... like, the way it can handle the sprites that it does, you could have done a lot of interesting things with that sort of style. And I'm surprised that more games didn't attempt it at some point.
Like, the only special we've been able to figure out so far is the Muay Thai guy's flying kick. I don't know if the rest are quarter circles or what.
Here, let me see. I should have looked this up earlier, but let me see if I can get it.
Wait, this guy has a Chun-Li style thing going on here.
Where you press kick a whole bunch or something?
Yeah.
This almost has to be custom chips, because there's no sprite flicker in this, is there?
Not that I've seen.
Well, what emulator is he using?
This is a FC EUX.
Okay, so that's pretty accurate. It may not be using custom chips necessarily. The sprites aren't that big. And I am seeing some slight flicker sometimes.
Yeah, most of the complexity is in the background, it seems.
Right.
Well, I mean, you know...
There's some flicker going on, but it's limited to... like one row at a time, it seems like.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, the NES can only handle like a few sprites per line, so I'm surprised that it can handle this, to be honest.
It seems like it's keeping up pretty well in the frame rate.
Yeah, it is.
Wonder if I can beat this game in 30 minutes.
And then you get to the final boss and he just kills you instantly and you instantly game over.
Oh, so it's Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Yes, right.
Game over, yeah!
Alpha 3, that was such fucking bullshit. Oh my god. That is probably one of the worst fighting game bosses, because you get him down to half health, and then he just does this move that completely kills you, even if you have full health.
Okay, what's this
really glad they patched that for the home version, though.
I like how it's just this regular Psycho Crusher, too. It's just so charged up that it kills you, pretty much.
Does this guy grappler? His throws seem really good.
The weird guy with the claws, or?
Yeah, does this game have a grappler?
Probably.
He's a
What would you even grab with robots like this?
But yeah, I've always loved the Vampire Savior, Dog Suffer / Killer Instinct kind of health bar kind of thing. I wish more fighting games would do that. Testing.
Oh, what?
That's received.
Okay. We're listening, Bob.
Ping pong.
Womp womp.
The audience is now
Wait.
dead.
I just got followed by Game Traders USA. That sounds really useful.
I know, given that the United States randomly shifts its borders to include the rest of the world at random.
Yeah.
Like just last week, Illinois got airlifted to Australia.
You can have
Me
it
and Cal
back.
neighbors.
That's a twist.
Let's see.
So I kill this guy, and I got one more robot to kill.
What difficulty is this set to? Because this doesn't seem too difficult.
I haven't seen a difficulty select. I might have missed.
Are the player robots look slightly different than the enemy robots? I can't tell. I think their heads and stuff are slightly different.
Okay, I don't like this
The
guy.
sprites are the same, they just pick different palettes, I think.
Some of this guy's really slow. I'm not very fond of him.
You just gotta figure out a special move. He's got good reach, it looks like, though.
Maybe he's like the Dalsim?
Yeah, probably.
Daljim, however you want to say it.
Dalsim, yeah. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Zangief.
It's actually Zangief. I actually looked it up. It's actually Zangief.
Yeah, Zangief sounds more like, or Zangief sounds like more of a Russian name than Zangief.
Are the crowd in the background just Kirby repeated over and over?
I think they're Angry Skulls.
Captain Zangief, my man. Zangief. Yeah, I got it.
Zangief captured your friend.
I gotta say, I am impressed that I think all of the robots in this game have different sprites.
Yes.
Yeah, surprisingly amount of
Even the
variety.
Player 1 and Player 2 versions are slightly different.
Also, I like how they use the arena elements to make everything seem bigger than it actually is.
I think the only problem with this really is that it's way too late. By 93, you actually had other systems with better fighters.
Even
I'm just
Fighting
amazed that
Masters is a little bit
Nintendo
better, arguably.
released a Street Fighter 2 style fighting game like ever.
Oh man, Fighting Masters, that is a game.
That is a terrible game.
Fighting Masters is actually really interesting because it's actually a grappling-focused fighter. The best way to damage your opponents is by throwing them. You have basic strikes and other moves, but again, it's imagine an entire game where every character is Zangief. And they just throw slightly differently. But it actually changes the game. That's what there's one character that's really broken. I think it's Dio, the angry plant monster.
Okay, this guy's making his... Is this the final boss? Let me see. Okay, I gotta finish this the way I started.
Naked and alone and scared.
Oh god, it's an ostrich, you're gonna die.
Hey,
Are we
it's
playing
balls all
balls?
over again. You know, the comparisons really do.
And I don't think you can play
Yeah.
as him, because he's not selectable in your character list.
Yeah, maybe. I forget if you unlock some of the bosses after beating the game.
There doesn't seem to be that many backgrounds to this game, though. Like 4 or
Maybe
5?
3?
Most?
Yeah, 3 or so. Because you got the highway, you've got the stadium, you've got the back alley or whatever it is, the war zone.
Why don't you look up a long play of this and see what other robot designs you get up against?
I think that this might... This probably isn't the final boss if I had to guess.
Actually, it's not. I played this a while ago. There was more beyond the ostrich.
How many more robots are there?
More beyond the ostrich. That sounds like...
Quite a few, if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm assuming all the ones I got are all the playable robots?
I suppose so, yes.
You might be able to play... You might be able to use like a Game Shark kind of thing.
Yeah, I shouldn't have picked this Sukapon. He's kind of terrible now.
I mean, it depends. Like, they might have control bindings that you can't use as a player, so they might not be usable.
Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised if you can play as him, though. There's nothing about him that's unfeasible.
I don't know if the game's gotten harder or if this character is just really that terrible.
No, it's the boss. It's being a cheap piece of crap. I can just tell.
Yeah, bosses are always gonna be cheap pieces of crap.
This is almost exactly like the fight with the ostrich in Balls,
Yeah.
except you can't regenerate its health like in Jerk.
Ugh. You can beat him though if you just let him regenerate his health, and then you just spam.
You just taunt a bunch to buff up your damage and just hit him once and you win, right?
Yeah, that only works in the ostrich though. All the other bosses are too aggressive. I say props to the fact that the backgrounds are pretty well animated too. I mean, they're not interesting animation, but it's got motion. It adds a lot to the game.
Yeah.
Well, this game's impressive in general, just being finding a game on the NES is not a terrible bootleg.
Some of those bootlegs are actually competent to some degree, though. They are playable.
Tekken 2 isn't absolutely awful. It's just weird.
What was that fighting game that lets you play as Charles Barkley? And,
that was Top
was
Fighter
it Michael
2000
Jordan?
on Genesis.
Michael Jordan and who was the other one? Muhammad Ali or something?
And Geese Howard.
And Cyclops and Ryu and Goku.
And Goku, yeah. He's in every freaking stupid should be in that Smash Brothers game.
Dang it, I was so close.
Goku.
I'm pretty sure I actually read a Polygon article ages ago that said that Nintendo ruined Smash Brothers by not putting in Goku.
Fuck you!
Well, you know, if you really want it, there is that one fan game.
Watch your language! Or no, I don't
Sorry.
know.
Anchor is very strange, given I'm pretty sure you were just like me and watched the entire series.
No.
You know, deep down inside, you watched it. You know all the arcs by name. You know all the villains. You can list them out.
You know Majin Buu. You know Cell. You know Frieza. You know like 50 others I can't name. You know the androids. You know.
I know for a fact that you do know this. I know you did watch it, Satanga. I know you did.
No! Quit accusing
You even know
me.
your favorite.
No, the only thing I ever knew about Dragon Ball was that ridiculous shaving scene with Vegeta.
Oh Lord, do I want to?
So yeah, this
That was
is Robot.
GT, though. That's not from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I just remembered there was a YouTube parody where they dub over the Gillette commercial with it.
Oh, what? Oh, whoa, what? That was weird. The stream's warping around for me.
Really?
Crap.
Oh crap! Should I do something about
No, it should record just fine. If it's anything like live stream, the recording should be fine on your end. It's just not streaming properly.
Let me know if it changes.
It's a bit choppy, but yeah, you're now fighting the ostrich.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh,
Yeah, I should have played as this ninja robot a long time way before, because he's so much better.
I wish I could remember.
Fix your ass.
I wish I could remember all their names so I could actually read this.
What if all their names are just the word butts with one more S added to the end? So you have butts, so on.
Sounds like a better hacks in the making.
That's NSFW sauce right there.
Wow, this monster's still kicking my ass.
Yeah.
That's a friggin' ridiculous ostrich.
Mecha ostrich, joy mecha ostrich.
Ostriches are always bullshit in games.
It actually has a continuous limb too.
What about the one
that-
from
it
Mega Man
actually doesn't
X2? Was
hang.
he that bad?
Wait, what about the playable one from Battle Circuit?
That one was okay.
I like, for some reason, the girl riding the ostrich was called Pola Abdul. Pola. Yeah, I don't know. Capcom.
Wait a minute.
Koala, Abdul.
It looks like it's replaying all my fights. Is this the ending?
Might be an ending. I'm not sure if it's.
Wow, this is... Attention audience, you were saying history. This is the first time I've ever beat a game on stream.
I could swear that there was more beyond the ostrich.
Maybe it's because you died and had to continue. You don't get to see the true final boss.
Well, or maybe it's a lower difficulty. I don't know. Well, you beat a factor of it. That's good.
Maybe you have to finish it as the Naked Man.
It might help to get the English translation.
Wait, are there multiple loops of this?
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go then. All right.
Oh.
I love how I can just hear your soul being crushed very slowly, Bob, on air. Oh,
Sorry.
Oh.
Dude, do we have to fight like Blue Scupon now?
Shadow Homestar. Let's just fight the main character of Mike and have you fight it as the final boss.
The Shadow
see a new
Homestar
background.
did
That's kind of
something?
nice.
Oh, I see how this works. Oh. So do you
Mission
unlock
Bravo.
other robots
Sorry.
you can unlock to play as?
I'm not sure.
Possibly. I don't know. It's been a
No,
while
you
since-
fight. Yeah, it looks like there's another. Holy crap! How many playable robots are there in this game? Play as the brain guy. You haven't played as.
Where's the ostrich though?
Put it back on, Charlie.
Yeah, I guess you don't get to play as him.
Because he's a super boss.
Yeah.
Well,
so
someone's
that's
probably
new.
ROM hacked this so you can play as him.
That's a new background as well.
Actually, I think it's been used before. Just
Okay.
a variant background. I think. I don't know. I don't remember. Just gonna cheap him out, aren't you, Bob? Oh wait, there you go. He
Looks
cheaped
like
you
the only
out.
special I know, so I think I'm kind of loud.
Watch out, this guy's got the zappy hands and the zappy feet. He's the zappy guy that does the zappy things.
I do like when older system games have like late releases that are actually decent.
Mm-hmm. The golden edge of the twilight. I don't know.
Because like, I mean, how many more years did the NES see releases after '93?
2, I
it's
think.
also in 94,
Or 1, if
actually.
we're only counting official. Like, Wario's Woods was 94, and that was like the last official release in the US.
It's not there. Didn't some of the Mega Man games get released in the late 90s? Mid 90s?
6 was 94, I think.
It's a pretty impressive lifespan.
Like, 10 years, like...
I still think, I'm trying to think, was it the Atari 2600 we decided that had the longest lifespan, or was it the Neo Geo?
Well, the Atari, was that official releases? I thought that was...
I still think it counts, as long as there are games coming out for the system that are actively being developed.
But I mean, like, that means that you could develop, like, an Atari 2600 game right now, and it would count, wouldn't it?
Probably. If we're talking official releases, then it has to be the Neo Geo. That lasted almost 20
And time's up.
Oh, we got through the first circuit, at least.
And we
Yeah,
had a pretty good run.
What even was the last Neo Geo game that came out? Was it
Samurai
KOF?
Showdown 5, if I recall. 5
special, yes.
Yeah.
5 special.
Oh,
which was 2004, I want to say.
I couldn't remember
Yes.
if it was that or Metal Slug 5.
Yeah, those were both very late releases. That's the longest lasting game system, I think, is what we decided on when we were discussing it. That or the
was
Atari 2600.
That was the last game we had requested, by the way.
So now you know what you have to do, right?
Get ready to Yeti.
Yeah, actually, if you've got Urban Yeti, you might as well lead us off there from the sweet, sweet, sultry sounds of the Urban Yeti.
I don't know if I have that.
Oh, well, in that case, I don't know then.
I could play something else. You guys are still hanging around.
That's a question.
But I think this whole request video worked out pretty well. We should do this again sometime.
I liked it, yes.
Yeah, I did too. We need to do a classic FPS stream, but not the more well-known stuff. Some, weirder stuff. Edge cases and whatnot.
Again,
That'd
I'd
be
rather let
great.
someone else stream that, honestly.
I'll definitely handle it. Either that or Weasel. Maybe X. Maybe we could be the 3 core hosts on that one.
Potentially. There's an idea I need to look into here.
Anyway, should we shut this down for now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Thanks everyone who made requests and everyone who showed up. Hopefully we'll do this again sometime eventually. I think it's a good concept.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm happy live stream worked out, not live stream, excellent worked out pretty well. And thank you for coming. Catch you later.
Yep. See ya.